This afternoon, we'll keep an eye on a few other things moving around here. I was just noticing overall the dollar back downside today, reversing gains that we saw back on Friday. Big green candle on the daily chart Friday for the dollar. We're back in the red, so that's helping the market overall as well. There's Amazon, meanwhile. Nice gap higher this morning, instantly fades that right back to Friday's levels. We've bounced off that 179.5 a couple of times here this afternoon, but yeah, wow, what a day. 15.5% here. Huge monster move for Tesla, helping to offset some otherwise weak spots on that board coming from the tech group, including Google down 3%, Meta up here 2.3%, Microsoft more than a full percent. Some weakness in certain areas, really, of chipland as well. Broadcom, NVIDIA down 0.5%, but everything else in this group nicely offsetting, including Apple there up 3.25%. What a day it's been. Struggling with $200 or the thought of $200 here once again for Tesla. But 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll call it 5 in a row here. And notice this candle down here as well. Monster volume candle to the upside today, signifying maybe a little bit of a change in the directional move overall for Tesla. There's the market right now, still drifting higher. We're on a bit of a pullback right now on the 15-minute chart for the SPY. The Qs, grab them, same basic story. It's been a grind back to the upside, bit of a pullback right now. Still 0.4 on the overall day ahead of up here. Apple and Amazon coming up this week. Pfizer, Coinbase. Yeah, also to report. Coin we didn't even touch on this morning. We did talk a little bit about crypto from the standpoint of it was a downside move for Bitcoin over the 24-hour period. Some of the equities were following suit in the pre-market, but we didn't even really touch on Coinbase there. Got flushed pretty violently back to day lows here as we get going on a Monday afternoon, guys.
Oh, that was close. Yeah, I was just about to bid Amazon at VWAP and accidentally bid Meta and was long Meta for about 2.5 seconds. Probably 1.5 seconds, maybe even less than a half a second. But yeah, we'll still probably get Amazon at that VWAP there. Just Google as well. I'm looking for a bit of a short trade in Alphabet off 167, so I'm just going to get back on the offer. But the market is starting to give it up in earnest. Obviously, Tesla was the big one in terms of movement, and it's starting to look a little bit heavy itself, trending back into the downside. So if you're looking for VWAP dip buys, Tesla, maybe a chance here at 192. Amazon, 180.5 is going to be VWAP. That's kind of strong, but the market just rolled itself back in. It is a story today of stock picking because you can't just point at the Mag 7 or whatever you're calling them and say, hey, these ones they're all strong or they're all weak. It's completely different across the board. You've had Microsoft at one point looking nasty, Google looking really weak. You've had Apple in the morning looking ridiculously strong. Now all of a sudden Apple is underneath VWAP. So I think you got to be able to pick your spots. But Google I do like for a short trade in here, as that's the one I wanted to be southbound still. I'm going to try and pick up this 167.
Yeah, I mean, the day continues here. We'll go through a little bit of a rundown and go through some of the names that we just shorted. And that's what I was saying to Sharif, man. You know, we had mentioned that in the chat there about what we liked here with Meta, and we just shorted Meta. Now we're $1.40 in the money on META Meta right now. And we just sat back down. So we just literally just got a coffee, sat back down, enjoying taking this bearish ride. Tesla, fantastic, man. We took $10.60 right there off the posted sticky note level. It was an absolute monster. It's been such a great day. Let's see if we can have an even better afternoon. Right now, short Meta, looking for bottoms of the day on that one down to 430.
I mean, you can come. It's fine. He's coming. Wait. Here he comes. All right. We'll touch on a few things we were talking about this morning. Let's get into Apple. Nice day for Apple here, back to the upside in a big way out of the gate this morning. Coming off a little bit now, but there was an upgrade this morning, talking very highly of. I typed in upgrade, not upgrade. It's Apple we're speaking of. Ahead of earnings is what I was trying to say here. Nice day for Apple.
Yeah, Bernstein giving it.
It was Bernstein.
Bernstein
Good point.
giving it the nod there, Brendo. Yeah, and a market outperform and $195 price target. That's up from $185. There's also the AI collaboration with OpenAI. They're looking at incorporating some of OpenAI's latest AI features in their next iteration of iOS.
I saw this note from Bank of America this morning as well. It was late in the morning, but essentially talking about companies that could potentially benefit from Apple's next product cycle. So JBL was one of those, Jabal Flex Limited. I wasn't sure on that one, but FLEX, and then APH and Corning, the glassware maker, GLW, potentially as well. So yeah, they went to 225.
Do you think we see an AI app store, or they include that in the original?
A lot of people have been talking about that, whether or not it's separated and run as its own different thing. So whether it's open source maybe or not as well could be an angle there too.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. Little AI app store. I can't remember the last time I heard Corning. You know, like it's been a hot minute. Probably not going to call it up or anything like that. But look, I didn't trade Apple early. I traded it late, so it's probably better to you traded at the open. I traded at lunchtime. So let's start with you, maybe.
Yeah, Apple was the second trade of the day there. It was just go long. I mean, you guys know the kind of trader that I am. Trade off catalysts. I liked it. We talked all about it. It's on the sticky note for the long. As soon as that came in, we sat there, took it in the pre-market. That's how much faith we had. But we didn't get our full position because it was pre-market, but still enough to make this it's now P&L too because of what Tesla did. But still, huge trade there to start off with. I like Apple. I think they're going to have a great report. So I'm long this name and probably just going to be in it till the close. I don't, you know, it's a great name. We've recently bought some sort of to trade with at 169 and change. We talked about that. Went all the way to 178, then fell back in. I still really like Apple. I don't have any problems trading this to the north side. We're above 170 now. And, you know, as we always say, written out right here, long Apple 172.50. So if I'm going to go long 172.50, I'm going long 173. And that's what came in the pre-market. Risky trading in the pre-market, I understand that, but as we say, fortune favors the bold, and that one on Apple, when I had conviction that I liked the long there, so it just worked out. Got going early, and that's really been doing nothing late. So we talk about being able to get into something and make a little bit of money. It was really trading that momentum upside, just another part of the game that I've changed around a bit.
Yeah, for Apple, for myself at the open, I was looking at resistance to support at 171. So 172 is where I wanted to be able to get in. You don't see it dip down, so there's a support line. It never really dipped that far. But once it broke out, that was at 174. That's right in here, right at the open, it broke 74. Pulls back in. I'm either looking VWAP or where it broke out to bounce. So the previous, like pre-market pre-market resistance, bounced to support. There's its double bottom. Once that happened, I went long a couple times on dip buys into VWAP. It failed 175, so I'm not in it now. It's weird, like it looks weak. Probably the reason I don't like this one, well, I shouldn't say that. Probably the reason I'm in Amazon short, or Google short, I should say, is because, I mean, Apple's still up 3%. I know VWAP would seem like a good short trade here, but I'd just rather be looking at the thing that's a little bit unlike everything else. You know, when that's like Google, for as good a report, and I mean, the report was great. They made a lot of money. They did everything you want, buyback, dividend, all that good. For 2 days in a row, it's basically just trending back into the downside. So I shorted a lower high here into 167. As Alphabet, I feel like this is the one short, which is weird because this was easily, I don't know, I felt like that was the strongest report if you're into just actual metrics and making money and growth and dividends and all that good stuff. This was the one, but the profit taking is happening again 2 days in a row on Google. I wonder if they fill in the entire gap, there's got to be a buy this week on this stock.
All right, Amazon up next here, coming up next as well on the earnings tomorrow. In fact, after the close here for AMZN up here. We'll get Apple then Thursday after the close. But holding on to these levels from Friday at the close, speaking of, after a nice move back, but we give it all back like that this morning.
Yeah, we dipped down and we went into that 180 level that had charted for no reason apparently, and then did end up coming back into play. So 180 did feature today, but in case you were wondering why it moved up in the pre-market, it was because of what happened on Friday. They announced that they're going to do a bit of a deal with the NBA for live sports, and we all know how important that is. So keep your eye out for more comments about that from the earnings call, hopefully.
Just seeing Mullen streaming here in front of me on a scanner. There's a couple things on the federal tax credit side, possibly. So MULN, back from the dead. Say it ain't so.
Neil was trading that.
50%, 54% on the day here.
Maybe, but it's just putting in a lower high right now on Mullen. I had one trade on. If we can come to it, it was essentially breaking this out 480 into 510. So it went like 30 cents a couple times, held some for the dream, and then it came back underneath. Like it just didn't, I wanted it to 560. If you go to a daily chart on Mullen, 560 is the big level. Here, I can show you. Oops, there we go, daily chart. There's your 560. That's what I was looking for next. It just couldn't push through, unfortunately. So we took our shot. I thought maybe you'd get like VWAP or something after that. Amazon, had a couple of longs on Amazon. The VWAP one ended up being better than the 180 where we did a bit of a dance because I didn't hold on to the 180. Looked like it was going to break down. I added to it on the way up and tightened my stop. So adding to it up here, then tightening the stop in because we had more on, and that ended up being the wrong decision. If I take the original amount and just kind of keep the stop at the bottom, it would have worked out fine. But VWAP was good. VWAP bouncing off 180.5 into 181.5. If it can bounce again, I'll go for the long, but this market looks a little bit weak, so I'm not sitting on the bid here. More interested in seeing this show strength before I jump back into Amazon longs.
I just sat on the bid here of Meta, but did not get anything down here near 431.50. So we're still sitting here. If Meta does come in, we're looking for $2. We're up $2 right now. All we have to do is take the offer and we'll get it. But for right now, we're hoping for a little bit more downside push here for Meta. Breaking into VWAP is the futures. So come on, Meta. We're short right now at 434. We talked about this on the midday show as we sort of broke down what we were doing there on the chat. And now here you're falling back in again for Meta. So let's see if we can get back into this four. Come on. Give me the 70s ASAP, please. Maybe we can get that. Amazon, yeah. I mean, this is just a name. There it is. Yes, sir. Let's go. There you go, Sharif. This is that trade that we were just talking about. Now $2.25 in the money as so far so good here. I'll look at Amazon. Probably not till earnings or so. So much else happening. But I love Amazon. We'll be trading that for sure. We're taking Meta for a ride right here, and we're pretty happy about it.
All right, SOFI was on the list this morning as well. Nice move pre-market on these earnings, but didn't do much after that. Fell out of bed, in fact, down to, I mean, from the open, it's really just gone sideways. But the move pre-market comes off a miss as far as the forecast is concerned. The actual earnings, not too bad.
I mean, it was almost up 5%. The pre-market gives it all back, as you saw there. What really stood out to me was the loan origination year-over-year increased 22%. More loans this year was mainly on the back of student loans as well as mortgage refinance. Their guide comes in a little bit light here, Brendo, even though the earnings and the EPS both beat.
If you look at the volume, interest died off at the bottom here. Interest died off pretty quickly, guys, for SOFI.
Yeah, we said wait for one level. It was 10% down when it got to $7, so it was SSR. $7 was support on the daily, so whether it was, it was up above $8 early, it consolidated underneath. When we go over our rundown in the morning, I'll basically just wait for it to get to $7 for the SSR bounce, and that's the only trade that we should take on SOFI. I mean, the good news is that's exactly what ended up working out. Was able to add to it even on the way back up. But remember, all morning, I kept saying it's bouncing, but the 720, there's just a seller at 720. Over and over again, I was mentioning that and taking some. Every time it resisted 720, I just got more and more out. I ended up holding, I think, 12% and got that out at break even. It's exactly at the same spot. So it's a very particular setup when the stock is down 10% and you look for that bounce. Catch the bounce, but take the profit. Because when it's down this much, obviously the market's telling you a little bit of something there. So kind of a gimmicky trade where you're risking underneath $7 even. I think the longer it holds 7, maybe there's a trade the rest of the week. If it closes above 7 today, maybe we look at that same level tomorrow for earnings. There's a lot of things to get to, but day 2 SSR plays are a bit of a thing too. So if it's at $7, I might try the same thing again tomorrow.
Yeah, great level there at 7. We were talking about feeling a little bearish. We thought that it would be, oh, this is still Meta, by the way, which is going down. Let me just look at SOFI here as I don't have it on board. So, yeah, we had talked before the market opened how good sort of that $8 fade was because the earnings couldn't get through anywhere near there. Faded out, down 10%. We mentioned going, I mean, I don't have it. It's kind of sucks. I'm happy where we went instead of SOFI, but definitely a great trade to have been taken down there at $7. Congratulations, everybody that did. Tomorrow, this name will be lower than 7.
All right, we'll touch on crypto here to wrap it up. As I mentioned, Coinbase was pretty negative right out of the gate. There was a couple of analyst moves I was noting for Coin this morning as well, but Bitcoin down in the pre-market, so we were gapping lower, but this thing got flushed.
Yeah, well, H.C. Wainwright, I mean, they tried, I guess, to have a decent day for the name. But yeah, maintaining the buy here on Coinbase with a price target of $300. Everything really sold off here, Brendo, in crypto world. We had eyes on Mara as it tried to reclaim some of the levels today, but Mara also rejecting aggressively off 20. All the mining names are down, guys, in high single digits, including Mara, Hut, CleanSpark, and Riot.
It's worth noting, though, I mean, this is equity related. Like the move in Bitcoin itself is nowhere near as significant as some of these equities today.
Well, that's definitely down 6% on Coinbase. Like, really? On Bitcoin doing nothing, the NASDAQ being up 0.3%. So, you know, sometimes there just isn't a trade that you want, and it didn't happen today. I thought if the bottom's going to be that 200 and the top is around that 240, if we're underneath 65,000, the plan would be just, if it's range bound, short the tops. It just got nowhere close to it, so I just sat out Coinbase. I mean, there was really nothing to do there. Unless, if you had some reason to be looking at the 230 level, that's just diddling in the middle. So, yeah, we stayed away from Coinbase. I know Mara had been making some strong moves up. I suppose it held last week's bottoms at 17.5. That could be something. But I think you got to let these calm down. Like, you're now starting to pull back when Bitcoin's going sideways, so maybe these need to settle down, show you a bit of a bid before you need to step into them. Because when they're both down 6% in Bitcoin, like I look over, every time I look over at Sean's screen, it's like there's a 6 and a 2 and then some numbers after it. Bitcoin's not moving, and both these names are getting smoked today. So I don't want to be catching any falling knives. The short levels aren't close to where I like them, so there's not much of a trade there because I'm not shorting Mara $2 away from that big $20 level down here at 18 bucks. Maybe Coinbase will give us a bounce to fade tomorrow, but nothing there yet. We kind of glossed over Tesla because I didn't realize we were doing the rundown, and it is what it is. It's fine. I guess I didn't see the rundown up, and then we kind of talked about other things. Look, Tesla, I don't know if we'll see the same dip that we got before. But let's go to the 15. Obviously, Tesla was a much bigger range than normal. So the daily chart. These wicks in here, resistance, are just under 185. It's the 184 level. 184.5 is the top wick. The body of these is like down in the 180 range. So I was looking resistance into support on Tesla. And it dipped right in. You got pre-market lows at the 184 level as well. And that's the only price I traded. But now my style of trade typically is I'm going to hold it for the top and then look for re-entries. It never gave a VWAP re-entry. So we're along the 85 multiple times. The best of it for me was about $6.50. And it's going to be, look, it'll be my top stock, but I didn't find my way back into it. And all of a sudden, into weakness, it looks like it's a VWAP retracement down at 192. I'd like to see things level off a little bit here because it's feeling pretty heavy. And I do like some shorts this afternoon, already in Google. But Tesla, super strong. I feel as if it's did a perfect job of holding the trend line on the daily. So we've had this trend line up all year, triple top, now a triple bottom. It bounced exactly off that trend line. If you draw like the August low and then you draw the October low, which we've had for a while, it bounces right off that. And 205, I think we're headed to. I think that's the spot. 200 to 205 would be the spot that I would look for short. I thought this morning we'd get there today, but obviously that didn't happen, so no short on Tesla for me.
Yeah, no, today was a long only day. We had written down that we had loved that trade today, and it was an absolute beast. That is Tesla all day. There's almost $11, $10.66 up there to the top. So again, we talk about that. Good trade. Probably won't get back into it. I'm gonna let a sleeping dog lie. I mean, it's trying to come back in a little bit. I only want to go long. So, you know, if anything, VWAP is right here at 191. But we absolutely destroyed this numerous times here today. And finally, like that right there is $5-6. That's a 190. You know, then all the way up there, 196. We took it when we broke the 50-period moving average. And as you can see now, we're well under the 50-period moving average, making me think that we're the other way on this trade. So we'll hold off on it. We're still long Apple. And by the way, we were just $3 in the money on Meta, bounced off 431. So that could be something to look at as well right here for Meta, down to 431, good bounce area. We're short at 434. Like, I can't believe we're just sneezing at $3 here, but let's see if it can get back to the downside right now, putting some damage on the board here with Meta. Are we done?
I think so. That should have been the last. I mean, crypto was basically the last thing. We got a lot going on this week, but really, I think the story is going to be these Mag 7 names and sort of, you know, figuring out which ones are strong, which ones are going to be weak. Like we said, we started out thinking Google was like the done data, and then the last couple of days, it's basically been a huge disappointment. And then you came into earnings season with Apple and Tesla being the weakest of the two for the year, and now they're like the strongest of the two in terms of like trading in the last couple of sessions. So, you know, a little bit of this, you have to adjust the way that you think about it, because I know you get accustomed to, hey, they're all going up, they're all going down, and you trade them all together. I'm talking about that Mag 7, but I think you got to change that tune. The weak ones, I'm in Google. The other one would be Microsoft if we're splitting these up. Microsoft, I thought it doesn't matter what the heck I think about the quarter. Like, we all read these reports, and I think it's obvious when things look good. And there was nothing you could point to in Microsoft's quarter that looked bad, but this is exactly like Alphabet. Gapped up, and now 2 days in a row where you've had profit taking, and this is now losing VWAP. So Google was well under VWAP, but Microsoft is just losing VWAP now. I'm thinking once it consolidates under here, this one looks like it can be a short. Like I said, it doesn't have to make any sense. You just have to follow the price action. And, you know, I wouldn't have expected both these names to be as weak as they are, but here we are. Maybe a little bit of rotation, right? Like all the profit taking in Google and Microsoft and some people going back into Tesla. Although I think some of that squeezes on Tesla. Like there's some shorts and people that were leaning on Tesla to the short side, and some of that I think is unwinding.
Yeah, for sure. There's people that had to sell that. Shout out to Chef Joe. That Bagliatoni guy needs to start selling his shares as well. So he's gone, and he's got to sell a little bit as well. Come on, Meta, bring the pain, baby. We're 270 in the money on Meta. If we have the earnings board up, we can get it. But for now, let's just look at this just real quick. We have ON Semiconductors. That's before market. Nice move today, just 3%. There's a big one, man. Philips right there, up 30%. Good name there. Shout out a couple traders here I know doing well on that one. All right, Paramount after market today. Okay. Yeah, you want to do it? Sure, fine. Let's go. NXPI. That should be a big one tonight. Yeah, join me tonight for that. That's about, I mean, tomorrow, we talked about on the podcast where I liked Eli Lilly. So that should be a play, I feel like, tomorrow.
But PayPal, I mean.
PayPal should be a great name to look at.
PayPal is the breakout that could happen on PayPal. The problem with earnings is,
when is that one? Tomorrow
the chances
morning?
it actually breaks out that 68 and you can trade the breakout, it's probably gapping the level. But if it gaps the level, we'll look for an opportunity there. And Coca-Cola is a good stock. We don't trade it. Eli Lilly, I feel like we probably don't trade it as well, but there's some big hitters, and we're just starting the week off. So obviously, you know, you're going to be interested. You're going to be interested in the big boys later on in the week, but I don't think we should be sleeping on PayPal. And just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, we put this one on the radar Friday for this potential break. Like, PayPal has been in a nice recovery trend. And the last higher low held this 50 and 200 period. The next thing would be to break out the 68 top. I think there's a lot of opportunity that it gaps it through, but this is a gap that has $8 or $9 up here. So as long as it's, I mean, if it's underneath 70 or around the 70 level, like that'll be within reason. I think you come in tomorrow, just sort of, I'm trying not to be too biased because I want it to be good and breaking out that level because I think that's an easier trade. And if it's a bad report, I don't really have a specific plan, but that's what it's all about here. I wish it was aftermarket, be a little more excitement, give you some levels you can work over, listen to the call, but we'll manage. PayPal's one we've traded on earnings at least once or twice in the past. Oh, watch out, NVIDIA wants the high again.
What?
That's surprising. Where's AMD? AMD looked really good for a long at one point today, like a triple top. I mean, it kind of broke this triple top. It actually looks stronger than NVIDIA. I like, I'm liking AMD longs. I was feeling pretty bearish when the futures were at the high, so I was looking for short opportunities, but this looks like, AMD looks like a long right now. Higher low off the 160, and if NVIDIA wants to help it go up, all the better.
Yeah,
I might look for a dip buy into 160. That way I can stop it out like right under here. That's like 159.90.
Combat RX1 bought something at 50. I don't know. Oh, Neil. I don't know what stock you guys are just talking about. Right here. So right now we're just going to look at Meta right now. It is now $3 officially in the money. And this was a name that we had just put on. So shout out to all the Meta Knights out there. As we go to the downside, I was thinking about bidding 430. I don't know. Do we really want to dance here? Because there is a nice downside push possibility here with Meta. So now $3 and change in the money as we continue to go lower here on META Meta. Nice little level there. Palantir giving it up, but we could lose something here on Meta. So let's be careful with it and see what exactly goes down right now as Meta trying to break back into that 430. Decent little short there. We could watch, I think anyways, we could watch out for this level coming. That would be Apple down into 174. If you thought, the market might give this up, which I think there's a chance that we could give this level up here on the futures, which is 17.9. I mean, we're trying to right now, trying to break below VWAP. If we can do that, then yippee-ki-yay, and we won't finish the end of that one. But yeah, let's get going, hopefully down to the downside right now with all of this. So,
Yippee-ki-yay, young brother.
Yeah, young brother. Yeah, I like that one too. I like that one even better. But here we go. So let's see what can happen now.
Family show.
Yeah, we're a family show with a downside move on Apple now.
You trailing that? You're still on Apple.
Yeah, I'm still long Apple, but we're $3 in the money now on Meta short.
I think
So
I'm feeling bearish. I don't know. I'm in one short trade, and you're at VWAP on Amazon now, and I'm not even liking that much. There's a Comp SRX. The last stock I did anything with at $50 was selling a bunch of Intel. I probably pointed out that 50 was a good level on PayPal, but I didn't trade it in my personal account. I never took it. As a matter of fact, the one that I've owned in the past is Square, not PayPal. And I didn't even get back into that one on the recent dips, block. But yeah, if you like it, great. I mean, it's in the money and looking fantastic. I want to clarify that because a lot of times we'll talk about levels, we'll pull up a chart when someone asks us, and I know there's been moments where I've said, oh yeah, I like this level for whatever reason, but I never bought PayPal. I could consider it. I mean, depending on what we see tomorrow, it would look really good for some momentum above that 68 level, but I feel like that would be more of a trade than an investment. I'm not a huge long-term fan of PayPal. I don't see where the growth is going to come from in the long term, so I'm a little bit skeptical of them. I have nothing against them. I just, when you don't understand it or see where I don't see where the growth is going to come from. I'll leave it at that. I'm sure some other people do. I'm into AMD on the dip. We just grabbed 160.11s. As I said, I want to give it back into here. It looks pretty strong. I like things that are, like buy dips and go long in things that are strong and try and sell rips and things that are weak. So Google just hit in front of the low of the day. If it pops back into 167, I'll rinse and repeat. And I suppose Microsoft is not going to give us fills off of resistance because we're falling a little too fast. So if this were to bounce back into VWAP, that I could try to trade Microsoft down there. Down 1%. I like Microsoft. It's not at dip buy levels I like yet in the long term, but it feels like it's at least trying to get to that 200 period moving average. We're almost there. We're actually halfway, almost halfway to that 200 period where I'd like to pick it up.
Yeah, Microsoft's going to be good. I mean, I feel like we just got to wait for some of these names to come through, and they'll be okay. I might just get out of Palantir because I'm just sitting here in it, not doing anything, and I don't want to like mislead everybody that like I'm trying to be thinking about Palantir too much. I'm not. I'm not even thinking about it at all. So, again, if it dips back in, I think we should be able to buy some more at these levels. But I'm not like in love one way or the other with this trade. So I'm just sitting in it. I'm more focused on this. Like Meta is now 350 in the money, and we just put this trade on. So we've just made Meta pretty much almost PL number one, almost for me. Like almost better than Tesla and Apple. It's better than Apple, right? Well, it's at Apple level right now. But we're going to wait for 430, so a little bit more of a downside push here. The problem is the futures just wicked that bottom. We talked about this break lower. We've been very, very bearish in the afternoon for a very, very long time, as many of you would know that. So, yeah, I'm still in my bearish era right now.
Well,
so let's.
See, that's the problem. See, Randy comes by here and he does.
Yeah, whatever, Randy.
No, I know it's just like I don't even notice that he does it, but I haven't felt like fully bull for a while. Even when Google had the report, it's just I feel like we're in a pullback.
Yeah, I don't have, look, all my trades are long today besides Meta. I'm just feeling bearish now. I was very, very, all the money today made is long for me. It's, you know, the Tesla long was $11. The Palantir long, these are just all sticky note levels, was huge off 2250. And then the Apple long was a one-hit wonder right off the open. But since then, we haven't done anything. So all we've done since then is added to our Tesla position a little bit throughout the day, which was fantastic when it dipped. I mean, I never thought Tesla would give us multiple opportunities there, so yes for that. And then after that, we just wait for better situations. And I thought we had found one a little bit with Meta, but now Meta's getting that pop off of this bottom again. So there we go. We've already seen it now. We gave it that shot. I mean, I can't make money if I don't give things a shot, so that was a shot. And let's just wait to see now if it comes back in, and we'll take a little piece out there at 430. I mean, it's right there now. Look, okay, here comes the spread. Here it comes. All right, so this is going to be good. Let's see if we get a nice downside push right now. Up to 430.50. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We're sitting there on the bid. No, we were right there at 25s. This is a big trade alert right now. Let's go. Bring it in, man. All right, there it is. Yes, sir. Look at that, boys and girls. That's a $4 winner right there on Meta. We're pretty happy with that. Couple 10-pack in Tesla. Another 4 here in Meta. Oh man, it's a good one today.
That's what I love to see, brother. I have one, well, okay, I've had other longs today.
They missed it.
I left it up there because I realized the camera was.
Yeah, that's why I was like, they missed it.
No, we are, whatever, it doesn't matter.
You were short something, no?
No, I am still short Google, Alphabet.
Alphabet.
I know what we're supposed to say. I didn't get Microsoft. Microsoft really started accelerating, so a little bit too patient with it. I wanted to see consolidation or something that give me an entry point. If you don't have an entry point, then you don't have to take the trade. But just as I was into the dip buy on AMD, like that was stair step up, we got out right when it broke support levels. Like I'm not fighting around with that name. Now, if we get VWAP, great. But if we're rolling back over, I saw NVIDIA come into the downside. I'm going to short the next available pop in Alphabet. Like, there's a part of me that was like, why didn't, you know what? No, that's not true. I was about to say, well, should I have taken something out on Alphabet after buying it off the 200-period moving average in the long term? But the answer is no, because I don't think that was ever supposed to be a trade anyways. But I am surprised what's happening with this stock. And the fact that it could be down 4% and continuing to fill this gap, if I come in tomorrow and we have a chance to buy off 58 or 60, like I just feel like I'm probably going to be hitting that key no matter what happens overnight. That said, we break 166. I'm holding for 165. If it goes back into the previous low, that's 166.5. We'll look for the curl there as things are starting to get a little bit nasty, let's just say, to the downside. I want Microsoft to be the other short, but I'm not going to chase it down here. I'm going to look for something tighter to VWAP. If I'm going to get out at 01.5 or 402, I don't want to be short here at 400.5. It's got to be above 401 for me. Now that's what's going to have to happen.
Yeah, I think that's what we talk about is having these stops in certain areas and making sure that we can respect.
You know what the worst is? Like, if you see me doing this over and over again, I don't change my own winter tires. I actually there's like this service, like you're the one that mentioned it.
I know.
They come by and they change your tires, but you lay them out for them. And then as I was wheeling them like back in and like lifting them to stack them in my garage, like the bag was wet because it was raining, and I was
Slipped?
like lifting it, it slipped, and I caught it. Like I caught it with the weight, but like just like that, and I could just feel it like right in my elbow. And let's just say, there's a little bit of pain going on. So every now and then you're going to see me like
get a
flexing
stretch
and
out
whatnot.
there.
I got to talk to our doctor buddy because it's like a weird. I can like grip stuff, but then certain movements, it's like, oh goodness. But yeah, getting old's
You
not
probably
fun, man.
sprained something.
Oh, I definitely sprained something.
Yeah.
And realistically, I should have just dropped it because it wouldn't have fallen. I could have dropped it and backed away. It's a tire. Like, so what?
I feel like it's like when you're falling, your instinct is to put your hand down, you catch your fall, and then you break your wrist. You're trying to catch something, you're always doing that.
I know. In hindsight, if I just let it go and backed away, it would have been safer. But, pride gets the best of us at times, too. Tesla's holding 92s right now.
Randy's going to bring a coffee, apparently.
Which is, it can't get to VWAP. Like, this stock is allergic to VWAP since it broke trend on Tesla. If we can come to this chart, like, this is the morning trend line. And once it broke trend, I just kind of held on to it till the pre-market high. But since it broke the trend, where is the retracement to VWAP? If we bounce off VWAP here, I might just have to, like, we bounce off, 192 here and the market holds a low. I think this could be something to look for a long trade in, but I'm not going to stand out in front of it. I'm still favoring short entries, but we need some pops. Microsoft is leveling off. I think we have a chance to get back into VWAP if it makes a little bit of a bounce play there. So Softy looks like it's going to be the one for me. Amazon, where was the bounce off VWAP? There wasn't. Now it's down at 180. See, that was a good decision not to reload off VWAP. Just because it gets down there doesn't mean you have to sit on the bid. I've learned that lesson time and time again. Like, how many times am I just usually, I'll just throw the bid because it worked for like 70, 80 cents last time, just sit on the bid there. Nope, didn't do the setup I wanted. Now we can stay away from it. Not even thinking about the long in Amazon now.
So I did, I just wanted to say just because we were just talking about stop orders, and I don't think I told you the exact price. So Apple, we are long Apple here. We have less than 10%. It's kind of an odd number that we have. But right here, 174 break. We got down. I put it to break a little bit lower than that, I believe. Where'd my stop go? I want to tell you, yeah. So breaking into the 90s there of 173. So, that level right there was 94. So it did break. You got a nice little sell candle there, but if we can come back in, that's good for that one. And we still have about 15% left or so of Meta. Again, a lot of the out was right here on Meta. What's up, Randy? How many you use Facebook for? I see you on Facebook sometimes. Some old friends, communication, Marketplace maybe. Marketplace, yeah, Marketplace is pretty popular. They're the one stock that missed the most here off earnings and coming back into 430 out of the Mega 6 now. What are we calling it? Mag 7. We got to take that out because you know what though, Randy? Maybe we can anoint Tesla back in the Mag 7.
I don't think it ever left.
Well, a lot of people kicked it out.
In the movie, the Magnificent Seven, they don't all survive.
I know, but that's why I thought we had kicked Tesla out when it was down 30% or something against the market here. But now Tesla's all the way back up. Tesla's back, right, Randy? We're back, baby. The only thing is that I was looking. I actually saw a Rivian on the road. I saw an all black one, not as impressive as some of the other ones. I really like that gray one and the blue one that we see every once in a while. But Rivian may be the next to go. We'll see what they can come up with. But again, Rivian and Tesla, two completely different stories, right? AI is stirring one of them, and Rivian's just trying to get production all sorted out right there. I still like the Rivian story. We still like it back there? I love the Rivian story. Okay, you still like it.
Love is a very strong word.
Unless it's a Jordan Love era, and then Green Bay Packers are going to be hot, man. I can't wait.
Randy has no idea who Jordan Love is. He has no idea who Jordan Love is.
I might go to the Packers. I'm going to look up to see when the Packers-Bears play. You watch. It's going to be
I've never been to
frozen.
Lambeau before.
Yeah.
That's on the bucket
That's
list.
an experience.
The only places I would care to go to watch outside of Buffalo, the only places I would care to go to watch a game are it's like probably Green Bay, and then there's something about Pittsburgh. I like the old.
Yes, yeah.
You don't like those old school teams. I don't care to go to Dallas or anything like that. I'm sure there's other stadiums which are really cool, but
Dallas is more the new stadium. That's why, right?
yeah, I want to go where the fans are.
Yeah, well then Lambeau.
Hardcore.
Philly would be insane.
Philly would be
for the experience
cool.
from what we've heard, from what I've heard anyway.
I don't need to see KC. Anthony Kerr, when does Apple report? Thursday.
Yeah.
We get Apple on Thursday.
May 2nd,
we get SMCI and AMD tomorrow.
Yeah.
We don't even talk much about SMCI, but believe me, we're
Never
not
heard of
gonna-
it.
I can't promise that SMCI is a trade because, like I said, like I've actually had profitable trades on it, but I had to pick the spots because it's the way it trades with the spread. Like it may be the same price area as NVIDIA, but it certainly doesn't trade like NVIDIA does. And I think that for most traders is what matters most. Like what's the liquidity like? What are the trades you can put on? Apple, thinking maybe VWAP if that gets there first, but kind of waiting for Microsoft here. Might just have to work with a lower high on Softy. This just doesn't even seem to want to get into VWAP. Dan Emmons just said, if you guys go to a Packers, I'll bring all the stuff we need to tailgate at.
I am coming. It's just, I mean,
You've been multiple
I will
times.
look it up right now.
You've been
I just got to
multiple times.
figure out, Dan. Anybody there in Green Bay, let me know if you have hookups because I want to come to see when they play the Bears. I mean, it's
That's
going to
what
be
everyone wants.
I mean, it's going to be a crazy ticket, but I will.
I mean, the Lions
I will
are
come through.
the better team.
Lions? The Lions. I see the Lions.
That's a better matchup.
They're a 2-hour drive, 3-hour drive.
Yeah, but who wants to go to Detroit?
Wow.
I've been to Ford Field, by the way, and I love
No,
it.
I don't mind Detroit. I mind
Just
Detroit.
throwing it out. I know. I actually I went to see a Final Four in Detroit, and it was amazing. I like Michigan State, and to see Michigan State in a Final Four in Detroit was absolutely nuts. Unfortunately, they lost to a team I absolutely cannot stand. North Carolina.
Tar Heels. Yeah.
I was pretty pissed off that game. I don't like Tyler Hansbrough. I knew he was going to be a bust.
I mean, a buzz. The guy probably still made 100 sheets.
No.
You don't think so?
Career earnings on Tyler Hansbrough, $27.5 million is my guess. Let's ask.
Yeah, he would have had to sign one deal, I guess.
Yeah, the rookie contract, maybe one other one. I can't spell his name. Tyler.
Just try it. Hansbroughugh.
This is wrong for sure. Career earnings. And I didn't ask Perplexity. I actually went to.
Oh, you went to Basketball Reference?
I went to
whatever?
Copilot here, so.
Oh, Copilot? That's probably going to be wrong.
What did I say? I said 27.5, 16 million.
The guy was.
Right.
Come on, man. The guy only made 16 million for his career. What's this guy's problem? But yeah, you're right. Wasn't he drafted in the top 10?
No
maybe?
way. Apparently, he played in the Puerto Rican Basketball League.
Right, that's where he made all the money. The Puerto Rican Basketball League is a hot league, boy. Okay, hell yeah, go Lions. Yeah, Jared Goff sacked. Okay.
Go
so,
Jamo.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
I'm
with
all
Jared
in on
Goff. I mean,
Jameson Williams.
I do like Amon. I mean, they have some sick players. There's no doubt about that. But wait a minute, who's there? Oh yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, yeah, they're going to be.
Good shit.
They're nice,
Defense,
man. Because I was thinking because
Hutchinson.
Swift, DeAndre Swift was
Look at
there, then
Tesla.
Philly.
Tesla's a beast today.
Tesla
Look at it
gets
just
by- yeah,
bounce
get
off
back in.
192.
Let's just. There's a VWAP retracer.
Yeah, like when you're looking for a consolidation
Boo.
the second time, so it bounces here, that was your chance to get in. The second time, it just kind of, like once it shows you the consolidation, it's like, yeah, you're not getting in unless you're already, you got to be more aggressive. So the stronger stocks, you got to be a little bit more aggressive. I'll try to take the next available dip in Tesla. That looks like an absolute beast today. This when we talk football, you get, like everyone sort of comes in like, this is my team, like go Houston. I'm scared of the Houston Texans as a Bills fan. They're going to be a problem for a long time. I'm still not over the fact that Diggs is going to be there. I hate when a player I like, ends up on a team that is the big competition. So I want Google. If it pops in here, 166.5, previous low into resistance. Looks like we're going to get there. So I'll look for this curl. We'll jump back into it. I probably give it to like 166.75 on the way back up, but I want to be shorting the pop here on Alphabet. The trend is clearly to the downside.
Oh, man. Tesla, great trade today. Yeah, like someone just said there, Neil, we told you Tesla would steal the show today. Yeah, I mean, we knew we knew Tesla would steal the show today.
True.
I mean, it was a big one. I was actually saying to Big Patty Ice there during the intermission that Tesla today, all I had to do was wake up today and see that Tesla was up 11% and instantly flipped into the long. And so all I needed to do was come and look at charts and figure out what prices. And we nailed that 185. You know, a couple longs back in there. My best, we had 184. I mean, the low of the day is, I don't know what the low of the day is, but this is a 184.70 fill that we have in our account. So I think that's close to, if not near, a low of the day for Tesla. So it's kind of stick with it. Look, if it breaks, then we look like a dog, and then that's that, right? I mean, Tesla breaks and we get out. And that's what trading is. It's you defend the positions that you're in, and you talk about why you like them, and you trade off of those levels. And if they don't hit, you learn from those mistakes. And if they do hit, you understand why, and you rinse and repeat that action.
The best part about Tesla, though, was it did break, but it just lets you right back in twice.
Yeah, that was the best part. Yeah.
Like for my style of trading, the second time I did get stopped out, because once it makes an opening low like that, even though it never broke 84, once it makes that low, I'm thinking if I reload 85s, if it breaks that threshold, I'll just get out, and then next stop would be somewhere down in here. It immediately wicked back above. Like if you were watching, well, obviously we were live, and we're like, oh, it's back above 85, we're back in. But if you're watching that level too, it's like it got underneath and just kind of ticked it for a couple of seconds, and then right back. The buying was so strong, and then from there it just goes right back to brass tacks and then holding out. So we do like some Tesla. Wait a minute, that should be tighter to 192. See, it's a good thing I was looking at it. Still don't have anything on Google, but it is starting to round off at 40s instead of 50s. So let's maybe put something at Jackie Robinson and see if we can't catch a little bit of a fill there. Speaking of baseball, it's watching Ohtani. Like, that guy's unbelievable. Like as strong as Tesla is today, that's Shohei. It's like Shohei Ohtani. The guy is an absolute freak. Anybody gets a chance, you ever get a chance to watch him, if you're in LA, like baseball players should not be that. Like usually those types of electric athletes are on a basketball court. You do see them in baseball, but it's a little bit different because you don't get to see them be that kind of an athlete. Like watching him run, for crying, he's so huge, and the guy runs like a track athlete.
Right.
It doesn't even make any sense. It's like watching Usain Bolt. And then the guy will hit a ball, and it's like ripping heads off. But we still booed him anyways.
Yeah, of course.
And then he went yard his first at bat.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah. Yeah, man, the Dodgers basically owned the Blue Jays in that negotiation. Like everyone thought. Remember going home. It's like, oh, we're tracking the flight of Shohei Ohtani. Oh, Kikuchi made a reservation at some next Japanese place. Has to be something happening. And then it was like whack. Not even close. So.
You know what the lesson? You know what it's like.
That would have been nice.
It's like if you come into like an earnings play, like whatever happens with AMD when they report after the bell, it's like going into that saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is the trade I'm looking for. This is what I expect AMD to do. All you're doing is setting yourself up for disappointment because you got to trade the price action. So like why were Toronto fans, and myself included and everybody else, like getting so excited before pen was to paper? Like what's the point? If he came and he signed, we'd be happy. So I don't want to get, like I try never to get too worked up. Like PayPal, I love the idea of it breaking 68, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be, I'm not going to sit there and trade nothing just because PayPal doesn't break this out. You got to find some opportunities wherever they lie. So anyways, can always bring things back into the markets. Tesla's starting to pull back. Let's go for 192. I think we have a chance to get it. I did pick up some Alphabet, so my average price is now 59s. It's a blend of the first short and the new one. It's just the way the system works. So average price now, 166.59. It's about 10 cents in the money. I want it close to the low of the day before we get any out.
All right, I mean, because the market seems to be the thing that's trying to move around a little bit here, let's have a quick look to see if we can take advantage of some of this. Back up to VWAP right now. We did want to have a look. So we're still underneath 17.9. I mean, that could be something for like a possible short here on the TQs or something like that for this play. So I don't mind that 17. I mean, if you're really going to hold, I mean, you got to go 17.98. Like that's almost 18,000 that we got that high too. But if you're going to hold just for today, 17.930, you're still, where are we? Man, that's still 50 handles away. But I don't mind a little look at a short here. We are obviously, as we've talked about this, pretty short the market just with Meta. We have our out for Apple. I could maybe even change this to get out if we like break right here, 170. Let's do that right now. Because if we're going to think short in the market, we don't need to be in this. I mean, this is already $1. Where is it? There's already $1.35 in the money. 174.19. Let's just say if we break that, then we'll get triggered out of that. So that's going to be a trade for us right now, apparently. We'll wait for that. So we'll see if Apple can hit. Palantir's a nothing burger, and I do like what Neil's talking about possibly with Tesla if we do come back into VWAP. I mean, whenever we have a name that we really like that does dip into a level or rip into a level, it is generally somewhere around VWAP. So I don't mind that kind of a play. That's 192.10 VWAP on our system anyways, 191.50-ish. So a little bit of a risky spot there. You might have to hold that a couple pennies against you, but here comes Tesla maybe with the market. It looks like the Qs might be a decent short as the market's falling here, and maybe not some specific names. But we have a stop there for Apple, and we'll look to see if we can go lower on something else.
Yeah, Microsoft can't even sniff VWAP, but I have VWAP on Tesla as like 191.30, so it's well underneath that 92 level. And it's not, look, I'm not telling you that VWAP is the be-all, end-all. It's not. It's just an indicator. It doesn't mean a ton. However, if it's a part of your strategies, generally speaking, that work, going long 92s, like you have to ask yourself, if I'm gonna get out underneath there, then put the appropriate amount of risk. If normally in the afternoon I'd have like a VWAP retrace for a 50-cent stop or a 70-cent stop, then if I'm stopping out for like $1.20, then just take half the share, something along those lines. Because I do feel as if you're not necessarily wrong if it's underneath 191. So I might treat it as a general price area between VWAP and 192 as opposed to just buying 192.05. So I'm not really on the bid right now. Google still looks pretty decent. Mo, how often do you and Sean disagree on a trade? First off, it's just not to bust your balls, but SHAWN. But to be honest, like I can't remember, like usually on most names, momentum-wise, the direction, we might have different prices that we like. I can't remember the last time I was like, oh, I think this stock's a long, you think that stock's a short. Like you had like that 72 level on Apple, and I like the 71 for support. I don't think that was a huge difference, but it did mean I didn't get into the trade. So I guess that's kind of disagreeing. But I'm sure I can't remember offhand, to be honest with you, on a specific trade where we didn't think the overall direction was the same. If you're looking at support and resistance, oftentimes it'll be very similar, I would think. Like I came in thinking only longs on Tesla, unless it got to, like maybe the difference is I was going short if Tesla got above 200. Because the way I see it, like a level like this on the daily, like if it gets there, I'm just taking that shot for the short trade. Maybe that's a bit of a difference. It never got there, so we didn't get to put that to test.
Yeah, that's, thanks, Randy.
What is the high, 198? Yeah, 98.
He's like, anytime. Yeah, so we actually got out of, Tesla, and we held it for pretty good. We got out at 196 break, right there when it broke the 50-period moving average to the downside. It was 195.80, it looks like. So that turns out to be pretty good. So save ourselves a little bit of money there on the push back down. So, okay, new position added. We said we get into the future, so we're here now. It just went down. We've been trading the TQs. Pretty much that's the weapon of choice for me. You can trade SQQ if you can't find Boros or if you don't want to pay for Boros. Here, that's not a problem. So you'll often hear me and Neil talk like that, as we'll have the ability to wait around for this to work and not have to pay for that. So just quickly on that one, I'm going to trade the TQs. It's a triple levered NASDAQ. And I wanted to just say that until we break, so this is a 1-minute chart, so you can see here we're sort of shelving that as well. So I'm not going to worry about this level. I'm going to worry about this next level up here, which is 17.9. So that's up here. So 56. So if we can get anything up here, then we'll put on more. But for now, no. We'll start it here for a drip. Hopefully we can get into the 50s, 60s. I mean, we're short, 72s, so we're 5 cents in the money. That's not going to do anything. We're going to try to get it. I mean, if I can get a bid, what is that level, 55s? Something, ooh, I almost put a bid there on Palantir. That would have not been good. But if we can get something to the downside right there for this, I'll take that. That's 65, break lower into 50s. And then after that, I mean, let's see if we can see the bottom. Okay, but it's a starter position, looking for more shares, hopefully to the upside if we're lucky enough to get those. So that's something that I'm looking at right now with the market going short and adding to it up near 56 on the trips.
A triple Q?
Like Triple H.
Like
I want to give a pedigree to this market.
What a legit, you know what? Kudos to Triple H.
Need a face.
Like I remember when that guy first came in, if you had told me like he'd be running business side, I had been like
well,
Helms. Well, I was actually never.
So
really
he married the boss's daughter, so that's.
No, I'm not. Look, I'm just simply saying. Like, obviously, he's from where he started. I just did not think that his trajectory, even from a character standpoint,
right.
Like, I kind of thought Hunter Hearst Helms was It was ridiculous, and it wouldn't go anywhere, to be honest with you. And if I had to pick out of that entire group, I certainly wouldn't have guessed that he'd be the one to make some power moves. But anyways, that notwithstanding, I'm into Microsoft now. It couldn't get to VWAP. It just failed 01s. So you short the pop that you can get, not the one that you want. So that's the pop. It went off 400, a whole dollar. I got 74s. I don't want to take this into VWAP, so if it breaks like 10s, 20s, I'll wait for it to pop VWAP and short in front of 02s. I did accidentally get out of Google. I had a bid that was for too many shares in a reverse law, but I just jumped back in at the same price. So I was short here to here, but then just jumped right back in at the price that I got out. So effectively, no harm, no foul. Only short. Tesla does seem to want to hold this 92. Like the third time, it pops down in here and can't get to VWAP. So I jumped in at like 50s, thinking, okay, well, I'll just get it on the way back up and then give this to 92 if that's where it's going to bounce, and I can't even get filled. So Tesla, it'll see underneath 93, and then the buyers aren't really wasting any time jumping into this one. So I'm going to go for a long off the 50 area and give it to that local bottom, and then if it gets to VWAP, that'll have to be a separate trade there. DX Triple H was the best Triple H. I like DX in general. Like, I was a fan of the group. It's just Triple H wasn't my favorite part of that group. I was kind of I was an X-Pac guy. I loved X-Pac, but.
Yeah, I like that whole, they don't have really, they still have factions, but not like that.
That's what's, I was really big, I loved the whole, the teams and the factions. I was really big on that, but.
I liked the Road Dogg and Badass Billy Gunn as well. That guy's still around, actually, Billy Gunn in TNA. That was, going to TNA was a lot of fun, yeah.
He's got to be, I mean.
The guy that owns the Jaguars also owns that, Mo Khan. So that's really fun.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That guy, man, he's really deep into sports and entertainment.
And his son, Tony Khan, does all the guy's hilarious. Didn't you see, there's oh, that's so funny, I gotta go find it. It was on my Instagram. There was a picture of Tony, the son, wearing a neck brace in the draft room because he was still playing it off. I'll have to find it.
Wearing a neck.
Because he got hurt on the show.
He got hurt on the wrestling show, and so that's.
Yeah, it was funny, man.
So while he's in the Jags, I actually like that. That's hilarious. Like sort of keeping it
like
real.
Playing it up. Yeah, that was the best. I'll find that. But anyways, all right. So
I'm so glad my daughter's not into wrestling.
Yeah, my kids aren't really into wrestling yet.
Because my wife would.
I hope they will
kill
at
me.
some point. But here it is, right here. So find me on Instagram, guys. But here it is, right here. This guy's the best. So there's the dad and there's the son, like sitting in the war room, right there, and he just got pile drived on. Let's see if they show it. So this is him right here on AEW. So there he is, Tony Khan, right here on AEW, and then there he is here in the war room previously. So just funny. Is there a video? No, there's no video. I thought there was a video of him getting pile drive or something, but anyways, that's it right there.
I'm an instant fan of him now. I'm an instant fan.
Yeah, this is who I went to see live. Anyways, no videos about it, but anyways, just so funny.
No, I won't be a Jags fan,
Tony
but
Khan.
I can be a fan of the Tony Khan.
Anyways,
to be sure. What else we got going on here? I see OJ, Moneymaker, TSLY. Yeah, I know some of you guys trade the TSLY. You'll never. I shouldn't say never. I mean, Adara trades them. But yeah, the Tesla, 2X or whatever. Like if you like trading something which gives you a little bit different of a risk profile, I think it can make sense. But we just trade regular, boring, old Tesla, which you can't. Again, you can't get these 92s. It's right back above 93. Maybe I wet the proverbial beak in front of the 93 level. If I'm gonna be long something, it should be Tesla. That's at least worth giving something back on to the long side, as the futures are trying to hold on here a little bit. Let me know what you guys are looking at. It's power hour right now. Do we have a run back up to the highs? I mean, the NASDAQ just resisted the bottoms. I don't really like much anything but Tesla long. If you guys see anything else, let me know. It's been the one.
Yeah. What's up, Kyle and everybody? I would love to pile drive the futures, but for right now, we got to wait, man. We got to be very, very patient. We're $4, $3.50 now in the money on Meta, but we got to look for something else. Nothing's hitting on my scanners. We can look at Snapchat. If there's any names you guys want us to look at, this is a good time to put it in the chat. I am getting set up. We will have Michael Noss on tonight as well. So welcome back,
nice.
Mr.
He's
Michael
back.
Noss. Will be on the recap show tonight. So join me then as we'll go over. And I just put some earnings names on the board there. NXPI, Para. Not many huge names, but we'll have a talk to Michael about some levels. I want to talk to him about Moderna and a couple other plays that I know he's looking at. So, we'll do that, and we'll have a lot of fun there on the recap show tonight. So join me for that at some point. And here we go, guys.
There goes Google
We're
again.
kind of doing it again here. There goes the TQQs one more time, into the 50s, into the 60s. I mean, there it goes. Huge number. There it is at 3 p.m. The Treasury is out right there. So let's wait to see what happens. Huge move to the downside. We did it again right there. Spin it, put the money down, and then AMZN for you. You wanted the blowing up cow. That's what it is. I mean, look at this trade. Honestly. We can't sit here and pretend like, oh, we predicted, this would happen in the futures. No, we did not. But you don't have to. We're at good levels. I know my stop levels. Obviously, we don't have as many shares as we would want, but this is what damn well happens when you put orders out and you take risks with names. Like, I didn't know Meta was going to drop $5, but I knew it was at a level that I liked, so we stepped up. You could sit here all day and just do whatever. If you don't step up, put the trades on, you can't have these results. So it's just like sit there, comment, talk, but at the end of the day, you have to man up sometimes and put on some trades. So we believed in that. There's the 200. There's VWAP. Pretty happy with the outcome so far of that Treasury, but nice move to the downside. If Federa has the actual numbers.
This result?
Do you see it?
I don't see it.
We have it on Benzinga right here. I just heard that the result of the 3 p.m. Treasury auction or whatever, I believe that's what it was out. So I don't know. We're going to find it for everybody.
Yeah, well, I was in Tesla, but jumped out when that spike down happened. Both the shorts printed some lows for me. Microsoft printed in front of 400. I'm going to put a bit at the low of the day down in front of 399. Tesla ends up holding 92s, but I don't know. I didn't see that really coming at 3 o'clock. I wasn't expecting any fireworks, so I just jumped out of. If I favor the shorts, I'm going to jump out of a long when I see a spike like that. And I think it's the right call because we're headed back into the lows of the day. So Microsoft, we knew we wanted it. We didn't get the short we wanted.
Oh, wow.
We wanted VWAP, but we took the one that was available to us. And that's sort of part of the game. What are you going to do? If the stock doesn't get to VWAP, but it's still trending down, then you short the lower high. And that was that lower high with the assist to, now I see whatever this Treasury thing was. But yeah, we've now broken the lows on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ now red. Hold on to your shorts. It's another one of these types of days, although we just turned red on the NASDAQ after all of this.
Yeah, I would say who knew that this was going to happen says, we put on 2 shorts only since we started the show at 2 p.m. It was Meta short, $4, and the TQs, which is now 50 cents in the money. I mean, we're just having a good day. I mean, this is what it is. We're going to have Danielle Shea coming through in a minute. I mean, Danielle, we absolutely destroyed this Tesla long. This is a $10 winner. Bang off that 185. We wrote down 185 on the sticky note. We love these catalyst-driven markets. I mean, look at Meta short. Guys, let's go. So U.S. Treasury headlines are now out. I mean, the market is heading to the downside. We're now almost dollar club right here. Where's my dollar club? Right there on the TQs. We're $5 now for Meta. We got out of Apple for $1 and change as well there. Look at that out right there for Apple, saving us again. All of that with one of my best trades right there was that move higher there for Meta. So again, we're about to go. We're gonna have Danielle, great guest, lots of information. We've talked to Meta with her lots of times. We'll figure something else out.
Lots of earnings to talk about.
Lots of earnings. Oh, man.
It's good to have an options person on when SMCI is reporting because that's a stock sometimes for equity traders. It kind of sits outside of the normal range of things that you would trade. So probably a little bit better to look at those options. But yeah, I mean, she did warn about some of these bad boys. Microsoft was good for a hot minute after earnings. I'm curious what the response was because that was a good gap up. But as you pointed out a few times with her, it didn't beat that expectation. If you look at the expected move, Microsoft came south of that, and then there was no follow through. But then Google did, and it still couldn't hold. Both those names stair-stepped down. So hang on to your butts, hang on to your shorts. I think we'll have her. I haven't heard anything when we're ready to have her, but yeah, I'm curious about that full pullback that we're seeing in both Microsoft and Alphabet, because I would have expected Alphabet to hold those gains a little better than they have.
All right, another afternoon and another shorting of the market. We'll just take another fill right there. I mean, this is what it is right now. We'll sit back, relax. What do I have tonight? Okay, yeah, we have Michael Noss coming on the recap show. We've got earnings from, as we have already mentioned, some names to possibly look at here in Paramount coming through later on. We'll find out more about them, but there's not much to know. There was a one last buyout offer or take private offer that was coming through today. We'll find out more information about that as we go. So right now, Para up 3%, a nice one. And the other name here that I don't expect much from NXPI because, again, NXPI more into the EV space for their chips, so more Internet of Things. But again, NXPI, huge move off that 200 bottom, and now that one is all the way up.
ON tomorrow morning might be a little more interesting.
Is that tomorrow morning or was that this already?
No, it's tomorrow morning.
Is it?
Or is it? No, was it this morning? No, it was this morning. I thought we didn't even talk about them then. Yeah, that's disappointing. I guess it didn't do much of a move.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. It didn't do much of a move.
No. Yeah, we're all getting a little older here and can't remember.
But well, it's not a stock it's a stock I never trade.
But yeah, same. The one thing that I remember though is it's 3 o'clock. What's up, Danielle?
Hey, there she is. Yeah, Monday. Let's touch on some options ideas for the week. Big week as far as earnings is concerned. Michelle, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Lots to get to. Let's start in chip land, if you will. As the guys were mentioning, SMCI to come, but AMD. Top of your list, or one of the ones you're looking at this week. Tell us why here.
Sure. So when you look at the semiconductors, I mean, the way that these stocks move is going to be critical for SMH and then also for the NASDAQ. We've seen the NASDAQ pull back. The NASDAQ is stuck below the 50 simple on the daily chart. And the semiconductors have the ability to cause it to trade higher, but the problem is specifically when you look at SMCI, the expectations are incredibly high. So if I throw up a chart here on SMCI, I'm sure that all of you know how much the stock has moved this quarter. But the problem is when a stock has moved this much this quarter and it's coming up into an earnings report, the expectations are all the way up here. So if it's anything less than absolutely phenomenal, this stock could go cratering along with AMD and send the NASDAQ and SMH lower.
One that is better part of $1,000. I was trying to look on your chart there. What's the expected move for that? Because I'm sure it's wild this time.
Yeah, so if you look at SMCI, the expected move is going to be, let me see if I can highlight it for you. It is the MMM, the market maker move, which is right here.
Wow.
It's $114. So if you scroll into the chart, I will show you where that puts the price targets, but it would basically put the price target at $985 to the upside or $755 to the downside. But here's the thing. What's the likelihood that this stock is going to stay within that range? It's entirely possible that it moves 1.5 to 2 times that expected range. So that could be upwards of $150 to the upside or downside, or even $200 or more. So that's how I'm going to quantify this move, okay? If the move is $115 or less, it'll be a normal trade within the expected range. But once it gets to be about 1.5 times the move or 2 times the move, that's when you know it is absolutely skyrocketing or it's getting trashed.
How are you dealing with that from a risk standpoint as well? Because I mean, you got to have quite the risk appetite for something that's potentially going to move that much.
So for something like this, I'm going to trade it in the options market and I'm going to trade it small. Generally, my options trades, especially over earnings, I usually risk $500 or less. And especially with a stock like this that can move so much, it's actually relatively easy to do that if you're using spreads. Now, people will come to me all the time and they'll say, hey, I want to buy calls or I want to buy puts before earnings. For something like SMCI, that is absolute insanity. I would personally never do that. If you want to, I mean, you can. Don't let me stop you. We're all adults here. But if you look at the cost of those options, it's just going to be absolutely outrageous. So the way that, I mean, yeah, you're going to be paying, you know, $6,000 or $7,000 a contract. So I don't want to do that. But I would be willing to put, you know, like a butterfly or a spread at one of these target zones. So for example, the upside target is right around $1,000. So you could easily put, you know, butterfly spread right around $1,000. You could make it $20, $30, $40 wide with a price target of 1,000. And then if SMCI trades higher into that zone, then boom, you have an options trade. You could also do one to the downside. I would say, you know, I'd probably be a little more inclined to do it at 1.5 times the expected move, just in case of a bad move to the downside. That would be closer to probably like 715, maybe even 700 because of where that price support is.
Coming up after the close tomorrow for SMCI, so that one's going to be a crazy one. Let's. Do you want to touch on AMD or should we move on to Tesla?
Sure, we can do AMD.
Sure.
Because, you know, this one is going to be really important as well. And, you know, I'll point out that NVIDIA still has earnings coming up. And so I know that, you know, a lot of you are trying to trade NVIDIA long right now. And, you know, obviously AMD is a different stock, but it is in the same space. So it may have an impact. But I mean, here's the thing is that everyone is asking me about AMD and I love the stock. I own the stock. But this quarter, it has not traded well. And I'll point out that last quarter after earnings, it gapped down 3.7%, even though they beat EPS estimates. And it's continued to trade lower. It's also below the 100 simple on the daily chart. It's below the 50 simple. So when you're looking at this chart, it's like, you know, I want to tell you, I like AMD, let's buy it, but it's not been trading well. So I think that there is a risk with the NASDAQ. Because it has a $12 expected move. And with that move, it could easily make a new low on the quarter. And it could even send you down to the 200 simple on the daily chart. So I think that this one's going to be really important. And what it does is going to impact the NASDAQ in a meaningful way.
All right. Speaking of the NASDAQ in a meaningful way, Tesla with a big headline today, big move in the pre-markets continued. I mean, from a company standpoint, this is great if they can actually get this off the ground and working properly and prove that it can work properly over in China. But nice day here, to say the least, for Elon and Tesla.
I think that Tesla looks great here. And, you know, I've been saying that I needed to see Tesla up above the 50 simple on the daily chart before I was willing to say, okay, the trend could actually be changing here. And so when you look at where the 50 simple is, I mean, the 50 simple is down here at 175 and now we're up here at 192. So I think it's looking really good as far as a reversal. The last line that I really need to see it get through at this point is going to be at the $200 price point, because that is where you have a critical zone of resistance. You know, you have all this price resistance. It's a key psychological value. You have a 100 simple there. So I think it's looking good. And I think especially with all the shorts in Tesla and people just betting against it in general, you know, you could probably trade it up to 200 again and maybe through 200, but we'll just have to see the momentum once it hits that $200 price.
Yeah, longer term, even if it hangs out here, you know, for a while, that's definitely constructive. I was reading at lunchtime, 5.8 billion shorts apparently are offside, and 5.8 billion for shorts on this move today alone for Tesla. So never bet against Elon. The two big earnings names this week: Amazon, Apple. Take your pick.
Sure. So let's go ahead and talk about Amazon, because when you look at Amazon, I mean, here's my problem with it. It just looks so good and it looks so perfect. And so I have just a tiny little inkling that says, okay, this is very similar to Netflix. It's very similar to Meta in the fact that the structure looks really good. They've been doing well. They've been gapping up post earnings. Everybody's looking at the stock and saying they have to do well. So I am bullish Amazon. I own Amazon. I think it makes sense to at least trade it to the long side. I'll probably put some butterflies around 190, maybe 200. It has a $13.41 expected move. But I'll just warn you guys, because with the way that earnings has gone this quarter, it's basically gone the opposite. And when a trade is crowded, these stocks are going the opposite direction. So I think that it may be worth putting a hedge on in Amazon. And so I might, for that reason, put some bearish butterflies down at 165 as well.
Are you going to be a subscriber to this grocery service they were talking about going over the past week or so? It was unlimited grocery delivery if you spend $35 or something.
You know, I think that sounds amazing. I don't know that that's going to be near me. I'm a little bit more remote, and I do the majority of my grocery shopping at Costco, which, by the way, that chart looks great right now.
Surprise, surprise.
But I think it's a great, prospect. And, you know, Amazon overall, it's a great company. And even if the stock does end up trading lower, $13 or so, I don't think it'll be the end of the world.
Yeah, 35. It was 3,500 U.S. cities were going to be the rollout on this grocery thing. So I thought that was crazy. Anyway, all right, let's touch on Apple here. All kinds of points toward China and what the China delivery number will come as with this earnings report for the iPhone side of things. Important though for this quarter for Apple.
Definitely. So when you look at Apple, I mean, this is just, it's very similar to Tesla in the way that it just looks bad going into earnings, right? You've seen 3 quarters in a row where it's gapped down. You know, yes, there's some news surrounding it. You know, maybe there's a little bit of excitement, but it hasn't been enough the last 3 quarters. And so looking at this and looking at the downtrend that it's in, especially with all of this resistance, I mean, it's below resistance at 175, it's below resistance at 180, it's below resistance at 190, it's below resistance at 200. I think that they have a pretty steep task here ahead of them of trying to break out of this downside trend. I don't know that they're going to be able to do it. I think the path of least resistance is lower, and with a $6.15 expected move, currently trading at 173, they could very easily make a low on the quarter. So, you know, again, this is one that it's kind of an obvious short, and so a little surprise could send it the opposite direction, but I'm still bearish on Apple.
There's a lot of people not necessarily with the same sentiment, but the same narrative around Google going back to last week, and then we get this absolute monster of a report. Just quick to wrap up, thoughts on what happened last week as far as the earnings are concerned? Google just huge.
So when you look at Google, I mean, I think it's kind of funny. I feel like the executives were like, look at the other mega cap tech names. They're getting smashed. Let's announce a dividend. So I think it's kind of funny in that way. But of course, they probably didn't actually do that. But you know, obviously I think that move had a lot to do with the dividend. And when you look at the EPS numbers, like the EPS numbers were great too. But I think at this point, it's going to come back down, and it's probably going to settle back down around 160. So while the initial move was strong, we're not seeing follow through like what we saw with Tesla. And I think that has to do with the fact that it's just gotten really extended. I mean, this stock has come so far since the lows down in here. I mean, it was trading at $86 a share not that long ago. So I think at this point it's just kind of topped out. You could probably short it. I heard Sean talking about shorting Meta. I think Meta, Netflix both look like they're going to roll over right now too. So, you know, it's not really a great sign for the NASDAQ when even the best stock post earnings, well, maybe Tesla was the best, but even when one of the other best stocks is pulling back already.
Yeah, I mean, Apple, Google, Apple specifically hasn't participated really all year. So we'll see what happens coming up on Thursday. Go check her out on X. Go check her out on YouTube at Trader Danielle. Ms. Shea, have a great week. We'll speak soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Danielle. I wouldn't be that upset if Google settled down at 160. Like that would be just fine to me, because that would be the breakout price that it made. Like that was the high before earnings. So when a breakout if it manages to settle down right in there, that's the easiest technical bounce that you can have. And I thought I put this line at 160. I probably just didn't save it. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. Just for myself, I'm going to throw that back in there. Because I do want to, like when it gets to that level, not that I'm going to forget, it's 160 even, let's be real. I did get out of Alphabet, the last short that we're in. It did trail back out after it bounced off 165 even. The futures kind of doing a little bit of a dance there. We're bouncing a little bit. Looks like the morning lows, like these morning lows in there, finding some resistance at that spot. So if we do check up here, I would look for maybe a reload in Microsoft, although Apple looks pretty interesting as well. Like Apple really flushed and went right underneath morning support at 174. That was the level I liked. And now you're the other way off Apple. So I don't know if I want to, I think I want to short this into the 174 level. Just feels like the way to go. Fozai is saying, look at Uber. I have not looked at Uber today. I couldn't tell you where that's trading. I'm going to guess under pressure after today. But I haven't looked at Uber. We'll check it in a second, just getting into Apple.
Either, yeah. So we do have a trailing stop. Well, it's not a trailing stop, but I do have now a stop for this. I mean, our stop up here was 434.50. So we had 50 cents worth of a stop up here as we discussed it on the midday show. So when that dropped down $6, that was a pretty good trade down into 428. But if we take the 50-period moving average, we're going to be gone. That same 50-period moving average saved us on Tesla right there, thank you, where we got out right there on Tesla at 196 and change. Now that's to 192. Apple, we're saved by the 50-period as well. As we get out there at 174, save ourselves about $1 as that touches all the way down there. So yeah, you know, we have. And this is the difference between, I'm hoping for professional traders and not, is I have the idea already. This is what I'm working with. I have the trading plan, and that's why I just wanted to show you, like, there's the break of the 50 period that way, right? Here's the break, we took some there. There's the break to the downside. Now we'll play it as resistance to the upside. Same thing kind of with the TQs. I'm going to hold this, but we are touching back to that right now. It could be a possible reload zone. I'm still going to wait for all the way up here. I mean, that drop was pretty dramatic. We did get helped there by the treasuries, which I think Adara did put in the chat there. Yeah.
Yep.
So it was 243 billion, which was 41 billion higher. So again, more people interested in the longer term T-bill there, which does not bode well for the market. So money coming out of the market, you got to sell probably your positions, your equities to potentially put in that 243 billion. So 41 billion higher than announced. So yeah, that sort of created this move to the downside. Now what people have settled, maybe we'll see the market, some money come back in a little bit. But we still have that plan of action for the TQs. We're out of 75% of this. So our first out was there, the next out was here. We talked about those levels. And then when it came back in, just before we went to Danielle, we actually were like, okay. And then we just got out of Meta. So there it is, man. We'll put that in our pocket, and that's another good one for us. We're now out of Meta. They're all in the pocket, man. So look at this, one trade for Meta, right? That's a short. One trade for Apple's a long, and they're almost exactly the same P&L wise. So good little talk there about going long and short and picking your poison. I'm just going to address this because someone in the chat, I didn't know who it was. We can't trade Fisker when it's on the pink sheets and it's sub $1. So we won't be able to trade any of these names, you know, like ETHE or something. That DIDDY is above $1. Ethereum, this always gets volume as well. Oh, GBTC used to be over here, so when this flips over, maybe they'll lose ETHE, but we'll have Jeff Mendel to clarify all that when and if, I guess, that happens. So the Ethereum,
it's a shame because
Grayscale Trust. I know, the FSR is a good one, but so there's other names.
It bounced at exactly 5 cents. I mean, like 5 cents on the dime. Well, obviously not on the dime.
Yeah,
on the 10th
on the
of
half dime?
On the half dime or whatever you want, the 10th.
The half quarter?
But that's
I mean,
as clean as it gets.
Yeah,
like if this same stock was doing 25 million shares and it was on the NASDAQ, it would obviously be tradable for us. But unfortunately, we just can't trade it. There was a question about Uber. It doesn't look good on the daily chart. Uber potential flat bottom break at 67 here, but yeah, I don't know if like a level like that. I don't know if it's going to get there. They don't report till next week, or yeah, next week. It'll be next week they report. I don't know which day, but we do have to wait for that. But a 67 flat bottom break, maybe not today, but certainly could be on tap tomorrow morning. Not looking great for them ever since Tesla and the robo-taxi. Like, they've been looking weak, regardless of what the market does since then.
Rivian 940 double top, but not enough to get me excited. I'm just trying to find
Rivian's
charts. So there it is, like top there, But again, like, you know, we're better off just looking at the names that are moving around. I'm trying to find other names, but I mean, Tesla, again, we love the VWAP retracement. It already happened there right when we had an opportunity to get that when we went to Danielle. So that was another opportunity to do some damage on that one. We're still net short everything, so we're pretty happy with everything here. We did get, well, not net short everything. We're in Palantir. It's more the Qs is the only position we're in. I might just get out of this Palantir trade just because it's like, it's not that it's misleading or anything like that, but there it goes. We just get out there at 67 as it takes the whole level. So Palantir, I'm going to get out of that just because I don't want to think it's a bigger position than it is, because it's nothing. So there it is. We'll get out of that. It broke through the 50 period. Now we just hold on to the futures and potentially reloading Meta somewhere. But again, look where we got out. We got out at 50s. We actually got out at 61. Now you're up to 88s, 89s on the bids, on the ask, sorry. So saving us that problem of getting short and then having to punch out immediately there with that. We were looking at Snapchat earlier.
It held 14.
That's the problem. I was just looking at it right now. It's, oops, that's Meta still. It's at a level. Garrett brought me a water. I might have to get a tea. It's at a level down here, 1445 for Snapchat. It's not bad. You can see it's the 50 period on the 20-minute chart. I'm not in love with anything except for the short, really. So
there's this JANX that's moving a little bit here on. Looks like it's biopharma news here, but yeah, it's only done 1 million shares worth of volume on the entire day. That's not all that great. It's one thing if it does 1 million shares off the opening rush, but 1 million shares on the whole day isn't exactly super exciting for me here. But it's making a power move for what it's worth. Anyone watching, I just saw Carlos in the chat put that one in there. But yeah, I'm just going back over to Apple. I'm short underneath 174. It just tagged the mid-90s and then starting to pull back in. So we kind of shorted the lower high instead of VWAP in there. Obviously, hindsight being 2020, I mean, when this was at VWAP, you could add a lot of shorts. We chose Google at that time. Speaking of Alphabet, it's back up to 66. So we're looking for a reload there. That was the previous low, like before we had that, I guess that like treasury number. You can call that the low of the day. When it broke down on volume, I was already sitting on the bid, and then the treasury thing happened. So I was going to get that fill regardless. But 166. If it can hold on to that line, I do like Google's weakness. I mean, I don't like Google's weakness, but if you're shorting the stock, I like Google's weakness. In a general sense, like this is when I dip bought, so I don't want to giving it up. Like Microsoft, I haven't dip bought on my personal account because it never got anywhere close to what I liked. But this one gave you the 200 period, so I'm kind of hoping it just goes up and up from here. But you shouldn't get married to your book and just say, well, because I want Google to go up, I'm never going to go short the stock. I think you'll find yourself in a world of hurt. Like imagine a scenario in which you were only long Intel for the last 3 months. You know, like that wouldn't be good. I do still own some Intel on my personal account, but it doesn't mean I'm not looking short on a day-to-day basis.
right, yeah, you got to divide up your
divide
your
in
buckets there.
Yeah, it's like I call it like left brain, right brain. It's just like they're two separate worlds, and you don't necessarily want to merge them because trading and investing are two very, very different things. All about patterns, although I guess you could be investing technically too.
Yeah,
But
I was going to say like, yeah, because like I was saying to the other guys in the back there, I was like, oh, one day we're bullish, one day we're bearish. And then today we wrote down on the top of the sticky note, bullish. And then I looked at Fridays and we had written down bear. So it's just about, or whatever the day was, just about trying to figure out,
Almost Friday.
you know, which, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it might have been Friday where we were bearish. And then you could change your opinion, right? I mean, like I said, we only have four names that we traded. Tesla's a winner, TQ's is a winner, Palantir's a winner, Meta's a winner, that's 4, and then 5. So we will go 5 for 5 today. So that's going to be a pretty good one. So no, Kathy, man, I can't. I mean, no. We'll just continue to do that, drink some water, and have a little bit of fun. you know, with that kind of a day right there. So you talked about Shohei. I mean, he's probably gone 5 for 5 many times. But we do it right here in front of everybody as well. So
Actually, I'm not sure he's had a 5.
no, really, okay. But there it is, nicely done there for Apple. Early and often was the outs, but only one in. I wish we had a little bit better damage on that one. Like I said, we're underneath VWAP. We're underneath the 50-period moving average. I would much rather be short than long right now. So we are in a NASDAQ short that we've taken at VWAP, so up here at 17,880. So it's like 30, 40 handles in the money right now. But we've already taken 25. We only have 25% left. As we've continued to take some out, is Square at VWAP right now? As well, I just came across a scanner. So hold on, let's see what's happening with Square. No, underneath, maybe it was low of day actually, maybe. Coming through right there, just noticing, trying to find some new opportunities. So there it is at the 50-period moving average right now, Square trying to battle back. So actually, it's too bad this wasn't a minus 0.4 because I would actually be shorting this. Look at it, hitting, and back. I like this name for a short, not for a long, but I don't want to go, you know, it's too much with the market right now. I'd rather go something against the market. So something that's already down, that's trying to make it back, only to get slammed when the futures fail. So good outs there on Meta. I feel like we're pretty happy with those. Tesla, possible reload there at 192. It just keeps on coming through. Maybe we need to take that. I don't know, but we're going to stay net short for now and just wait to see. Oh, it's already 3:30. Wow, okay.
The early looks just,
Didn't even realize
there's
that.
nothing there. AT&T, that's there every single day. Early look, 2.4 million to buy. Verizon, 1.5 million to buy. Pfizer, a million shares, that's nothing. Walmart, nothing. Neo, who cares about that? None of the big individual names have early look imbalances. That's that BRKR, that's the number, like those are the numbers we care about. Anything else would be from the morning, you can tell by time. So early look, I see pretty much nothing burgers. Doesn't mean it'll be a nothing burger at 340. Check that 350 when the imbalances do drop. I reloaded them out of Microsoft. We had that one before the number. It's not really a number. We had that one before we had that the treasury number come through. It got the flush, kind of like a happy accident. Don't really know that was going to flush the market, but I reload it. It takes out the top. I'm still in Apple and Alphabet. Alphabet's a reload at a lower high. So we're in the same level on Microsoft, but we're taking a lower high on Alphabet. And if it can't hold a 166, we'll jump out of this one. Don't want to be too far away from VWAP with a wide stop in there. Pretty Panda says MSOS is waking up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't look at the wheat stocks today. Usually at some point the last couple of weeks, I've been at least keeping an eye, especially in the afternoons, on like the CGCs of the world and the ACBs, not necessarily Tilray, but just those two. MSOS, that's not really doing a heck. Okay, it's not bad. I mean, it's only like 20, 30 cents. It doesn't move as much. This is why you get more bang out of, I find you get more bang out of your buck, generally speaking, trading, although not today. I was going to say ACB, but the ACB is actually down today, so that's not looking very good at all. So yeah, MSOS not looking bad. A little bit surprised. And you're right, Anthony Kerr, even Boeing's up today. But the market, not so much. I just got back in. I'm going to give some back on Google. But I love it when something is trending lower like this. Trying to find multiple ways in can be the way to go, but I want to keep the stop tight. If you're adding on the way down, it's one thing when you got a great level, like we're at 67 or at VWAP or earlier in the day, that 69 would have been that. When you get the lower lows, I tend to want to have a tighter stop because there's so much room for it to go back into VWAP there. So I'm not really sure why MSOS is so strong when none of the names I looked at looked any good today.
I mean, we could flip this over, 193. I mean, we just drew this little line here on Tesla. You could see matching the highs all the way and now trying to break below the 50-period moving average. I could see some money coming out a little bit here on Tesla. I don't want to give a whole heck of a lot back of what we've already done today. I just put an offer out and it does that. But we'll start the short right here at 33s right there. And in order to be wrong on this one, it might happen pretty quick. I was thinking like a little bit higher. So we did tick higher than that right there. So a little bit of a higher tick here probably gets us into 93, a little bit higher and change. So we'll start the short rate now against this 192.80. And here we go. We'll see if we could take something else if it does go back up to the upside, then using some of those areas as our out. I mean, if I'm able to hit this, then honestly, I should probably go grab some lottery tickets. I mean, look what's happening right now. So hopefully this will fail off of this level. I don't want to cheer against Tesla or anything like that, but this is a new position for me, and it's just 25 cents in. Let's see if it breaks 192 and gets a little lower than that right now for Tesla. So again, right there, into a little bit of a short. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I do want to get more up there near 192.80, and then I'll put the stop out at 193 and change, and if it breaks through there, then we will get out. Oh no, my blotter's trying to refresh.
Oh,
so
Mullen's trying to go again.
Yeah, Mullen, eh?
Oh,
All right.
goodness.
Good name there.
Huge volume on Mullen. I don't know, I feel like I took my shot at Mullen for the day, and now it's doing the move that I was going for last time at the 480. So if you're watching the midday show, you probably know why I wouldn't take this high, because 560 was a problem on Mullen on the daily chart. So I tried the long going into it, which was down here at 480. Scalped some out, looked for the hold to 560, and then stopped out just under break even. So I'm not chasing because of this, and it's the end of the day. That's 560 on the daily chart, pretty big level. That said, if it clears this tomorrow, well, I mean, it could probably clear this in the aftermarket. If it's trading above 560, this is a squeeze play. Nothing good about Mullen per se, but we've seen stocks that reverse split time and time again, and then eventually catch some kind of a mini squeeze. Mullen's problem is, even after like multiple reverse splits, it's not like the float's that small because it was pretty much gigantic, and that can be a bit of a problem. So it'll be more exciting if that is a smaller float, but tomorrow above 560, I'd be interested in some longs on the Mullen. Adara?
This part of the show brought to you by Trade Ideas, which has real-time scanning and alerting used in our desk by many of our traders every single day. You can actually see what's moving in the market with Trade Ideas. Just check out the link in the description for 20% off.
There you go. Check out Trade Ideas. And you know what? We use them all the time. If you're interested, I mean, Sean has a VWAP scanner, which is good, pulling back into VWAP. If you like that in the afternoon, you can always ask Michael Noss to get any of our layouts. I mean,
hit up M. Noss.
You know, I got that Momo scanner. He'll be on tonight.
Yes.
Interested to hear what he will be looking at this week. There's a lot to get to. I know he's a big swing guy. There's some, like, I look at that PayPal. It's like that breakout. It's a smiley face into a flat top break, which I've never heard him say that stock before,
No.
but I feel as if that's right in his wheelhouse.
All right, Tesla's ripping.
Smiley face. We love this. We love to buy smiley faces. Fundamentally, I'm not here to tell you anything about PayPal. I'm not even a huge fan of it myself, but I do like that setup. Apple's starting to pull back in, so we reloaded Google. That didn't work out, although it's probably a good idea. It's actually coming back, but now Apple's starting to roll back in off the 174. The local bottom is 173.35, so I want to bid in front of that as well. And then the low of the day, I don't know, I feel like if Apple gets to this low from the open, take the money and run. It was a positive catalyst on Apple, and Apple is one of the stocks that I think money's coming back into it. So I don't want to get all gung-ho like Apple's going to fall apart at the close, because I don't really think that's necessarily the case. I think I want to take the profit, and I wouldn't be surprised if it saw VWAP again. So we're going to have a tight stop as we're going over to the screen for Adara.
Lots of big movers on the S&P 500 that we haven't discussed. A lot of them are going to be earnings related, but there are some other names to talk about, including Boeing, with actually a couple positive catalysts, up almost 4%, near its high of day right now, receiving a $178 million contract from the U.S. Air Force for producing and providing 7 aircrafts. We also have Boeing trading higher on news that the company is reportedly receiving $77 billion in orders for its bond sale. So lots of positive news for Boeing coming out of this morning. BA. We also have Moderna to the upside, over 3% after out-licensing COVID-19 patents in Japan and securing a royalty on sales. So some licensing and royalty news for mRNA. Last but not least, an earnings name here, and it's going to be on semiconductor. ON over 3% to the upside. Reporting an earnings beat across the board here for both EPS and sales, but actually projecting lower than expected both EPS and revenue for the next quarter. That being said, still positive on the day for ON, guys.
That's what I was thinking too. All right, Tesla's getting pretty thirsty to get back up to the upside right now. So there it goes. So we just got some out at 193. I thought maybe it was just a move to the upside here, But with no news, like that was a pretty huge move for Tesla, considering the market did absolutely nothing. So I don't know what's going on right now, but let's put some bids here in and around O's. And if we're lucky enough to get something on a push back down in, then we'll take this out. Otherwise, a break back up through 50. This name is going right now immediately. I feel like there's some sort of an options play happening right now. I mean, we just went up straight up $1 right there for Tesla, like a bigger move than pretty much. Like there's one candle right here, which was really nice at 315. But I guess, you know what, we're getting really close into
It's 340.
Yeah, we're so close into the close, so I need to change my tune a little bit here. Tesla, I like the long. It's probably going to work into the close, so let's just get this out if it breaks back above O's, or sorry, 53s, I think was my out. Yeah, so a break above 50s, and we're gone. We did try this one more time. The long was fantastic, and the short has been garbage, obviously. So we'll wait to see what happens now, but that's what I'm looking for right now with Tesla's a little bit of a pullback in here.
You know what? Did we not have MSTR on that list?
It is, they are reporting.
Yeah, but I didn't. Okay, that's yeah. I thought we did know they were reporting, but I didn't see it on the list. Like that one apparently, at least according to Day Trader Cut, will be like right at the close, right away.
Yeah, I have it on the list.
Yeah, so that like obviously we've been talking about like volatile names and where they could go. That would be a little bit spicy. Of course, it's a $1,200 stock, so I've never traded it. I can safely say that I think I've traded 2 stocks. Actually, that's not true. I think 3 stocks ever over 1,000. One of which was, because when Tesla was at 1,000, it was fine. I traded Amazon one time, and I told the story before. It was just nonsensical. It was stupid because if you can be right but wrong, then you shouldn't be trading it.
Right.
And that was exactly what happened. I just took another leg out of Apple because some buyers have showed up here at the 70s. And I want to respect it. Like this market's starting to catch a bit of wind, and it wouldn't surprise me. Like I know it's trend down. Obviously, if I had VWAP on Apple, I'm gonna slap the fail on this, because I'm looking back. I don't have a really good reason why I didn't like the short here, except for my bias being long Apple today. That was it. Like I came in with a long bias and never got a bounce off 71. I tried a long into VWAP, and that's the reason. It's not an excuse, it's the reason I was biased. So I wasn't looking for that trade, which is usually good. Resist lower high, resist under VWAP, you're sitting in it, the bond thing happens, and you just sort of get $1.50 out of nowhere. I don't short until it goes to 174, but if it breaks to the upside here, it's 341. I'm just gonna get out of it. Google, we got out of that short. I guess we could have stayed in it, but shorting some lower highs there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of a bounce here going into the close. Profit taking on what's been mostly selling today, I think could cause some of these to bounce into VWAP. You're seeing Tesla, and Tesla ends up holding VWAP. I got out of this when the bond thing happened, and then I just never got back in because I turned bearish. But Tesla, 15%. It's not just that it's up 15%. Wow. It's up 15% on 223 million shares of volume,
that's the best part.
And it's still doing volume. Like that is strength right there. Like that's a home run. You could care less if a stock is sitting there holding highs, floating around, doing nothing in the afternoon. This stock is churning through volume, and it's doing so at the tops. That is bullish. It matters how much people trade. I remember you could always tell, like NEO, for example. You could always tell if NEO was in a bull run because in the afternoon when the Chinese ADRs went to sleep, it would still be doing volume, above VWAP, and that would be a good sign. I can't remember the last time it did that. So obviously it's not been very bullish. Brad Altman, I have no idea if Paramount's going to beat, and given that everything hangs on this, do they go private and take this deal or not? I'm not sure it matters that much. It's such a weird thing because I feel like the shareholders are screwed no matter what, because they had a cash deal they could take, or they could take this other deal, which is basically meaningless for the shareholders, and then just gets. Like I don't even understand what the point of it is. Like there's no difference if they take out the I forget her name now.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I forget the name, who the owner is. But essentially the second deal would just be taking her out, and then it's status quo for all the regular shareholders, as opposed to the cash deal that was in hand $10 ago. So I wish everyone the best. I'm not a huge fan of that business, but good luck to anybody out there in Para. I wouldn't be gambling on that stock. They should have taken the cash deal. It doesn't make any sense to me. Everyone would have made money.
Yeah, there's always more to everything.
Yeah, I'm just simply looking at the price and like, why wouldn't you just rather make money? know.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you look back and. All right, just kind of like what I'm doing here with Tesla. It just went up to the 200 period on the minute chart. So, you know, we should have got, remember when we drew that little line that broke now? That could have been going long on that. So right here, it's just funny because shout out to YZ there. I laugh because I remember at the open, you had mentioned that, oh, Sean's just going to go short Tesla. And look, you're right. Here into the close, we're short again here on Tesla. But yeah, we're giving a little bit of it back. Let's see what happens here. Only 5 minutes until the imbalances. I should have just, I didn't even realize how close we were getting to the end of the day, but you could tell that by the time we're at the end of the day, we're a little more relaxed. The TQs, I guess I can start to cancel. There's no point in averaging into anything now because we're just gonna have what we have and then get out appropriately. So this one right here, I don't mind trying to hold this back in case the imbalance is the other way. We're short right now at 80s. So our out was a lot higher, but we never really got that bigger fill up here. So it's still going to be a good trade. We're still in it, but if we break anywhere to the high side against our current position, we're short at 79. I just put an out at 80. So if we break that level, then we will get out of here on the triple Qs and just say see you later to that one. Because like we just mentioned, in a couple minutes, we do have those imbalances coming out right here. And this is from the morning, so we can get rid of, like, Tesla's not there anymore. We do have some of these. AT&T is going to be a buy, it looks like. Anything with a broker, with Coke is right there as well. We talked about earnings coming for them. AT&T, we did that already. Ford. So we're going to have to wait to see, but still some time coming before these imbalances hit. And we only need anything except for NASDAQ in New York. So that's at 350. They'll all come through, and we'll see if we can get going to the downside right now. But yeah, it does look like right here, Tesla continuing to go to the upside.
And that's what it's been doing. You know what, as you mentioned Ford, guess what Ford did for the, okay, it's only like 2 or 3 times here, but it's bounced off the 50-period moving average. So support at 12, pulls back into 12, holding the higher low. This is all great because it's post-earnings, so you like the fact that it's holding on this 1250 level, kind of like a post-earnings support. What it needs to do next, of course, would be break out some tops, but I think you've done at least some work trying to level off here. The problem with them is, okay, I don't know if this is the problem with them. It's just that GM's stronger. That's not a Ford problem, it's just that GM looks better. And I still like the breakout on GM. It just hasn't happened yet. Look how great this will be. Okay, I don't know how good it's gonna be, but look how great it's forming up to be on General Motors. Like you report, you do a little bit of a dip, you immediately regain 45, higher lows. It puts in exactly the same range as Friday without taking the top off. But I think that's a yet for GM. I don't need to tell you that GM's chart looks better than Ford's chart. So why do I like a potential breakout at some point on GM? Because it's a stronger looking upward trend. That said, watch it gap through 47 and then you can't make the trade tomorrow or whenever it does happen. But I do like GM. We've been waiting for, we said last week we're waiting for this to break out this top, and we're still waiting for it to break out this top.
Beyond Meat was getting a little bit of funding, but not much really happening there. I heard some stories with Beyond Meats. Here it is right here. I thought that there would be something happening more than there was. Right here, Impossible Food CEO targeting a liquidity event that could include an IPO. That's all that it was. So it was Impossible. I don't know, have they looked at what Beyond Meat has been doing? I don't know if they should be IPOing in this environment or not.
Sometimes these people just want to get out, and it's like they don't even care about the time, and they just want to
yeah, I could see
get
that.
out. You know what I mean? Like
see that for sure.
Like I thought that what was it? It wasn't Instacart.
Birkenstock or?
No, it wasn't Birkenstock. Birkenstock I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
No, it was Reddit. Like I felt like
Reddit.
Yeah, like the Reddit timing was just like all kinds of weird because it felt like they had a better chance to get out to do the IPO when things were at the tops, and then they kind of waited till things were already pulling back. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really make any sense. Like there was a big euphoria in the bull market that they could have really just captured on the way up, and instead it's almost like they allowed the market to make a top and then did the IPO, which to me doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't really matter. Beyond Meat, this actually isn't crazy for a potential squeeze name. The problem is, like, what's the catalyst for it? It's a 37% short float with a double bottom on the daily and a pretty clean level that it could break out. The problem is, what is the catalyst that gets it to go? Like we've mentioned this with like stocks like Lucid, like it's great, and I would love to trade a squeeze and it looks like it's at a level that it could do something. And if it went even halfway to the previous tops, you'd have a little bit of a trade there. But catalyst, and I can't remember the last time I had fake anything. To be honest with you, not a huge. The long term, I think there's going to be something to it. But that's the very long term. You got a lot of things you have to solve. It needs to cost the same. It needs to taste the same. It needs to have same nutrition within like 5 to 10%. And then once you get to there, then you've got a real market. But until then, everyone's going to want the real thing. Let's be real.
Just waiting only 20 seconds now. Tesla's pulled back a little bit. We just took a bid for flat here at 194 because it's been pretty idiotic going short Tesla here. I don't know why we did that, honestly. We threw back a little bit of money, but nothing to worry about. But I hate to do that at the end of the day when I already said that we wouldn't be sure. I'm looking for the imbalance locator. Where
Here we go.
I think I might. You have to go to Neil's. I closed mine.
I got nothing so far. PBR, BMY's $2 million to sell.
History log.
Tesla $1 million to buy. See, Tesla never has an imbalance. Tesla $1 million to buy. That's the biggest one. No one cares about Citigroup. I don't know what CRBG is. WFC's in there for $800,000 to buy. LUV $880 to sell. But $1.5 billion to buy. Tesla being $1 million to the buy side is the big one.
Oh no, there it is.
So I'm in Apple, but I'm probably just going to get out. I didn't even see Apple, but with Tesla coming out that big, I'm just going to punch out because Tesla. I mean, I can't remember the last time Tesla had a million share imbalance, outside of the S&P day. Like the added to the S&P 500 is the only time I've seen Tesla with a million share imbalance. I'm going to go ahead and say that's not normal, and I'm just punching out of the last short that we had. It'd only be about 20 pennies on Apple. But as I said, I know what I did wrong on Apple. It's very simple. I was biased to the long side, and when it's set up, trend down since the open, there was a VWAP short trade that we could have had. Didn't take it because I was biased to the long. Your bias is a good thing because it gives you conviction, but there are moments where, hey man, the trend was in the other direction, and I could have acknowledged that, but it is what it is. All you can do is move on to the next. So Tesla, at 355, I fully expect that to pair off. So it's a million shares to buy. I would suspect it's probably going to be smaller in about 3 minutes or so. So just be careful. If you're trading off of that, I don't want to draw a line. If you're trading off of that, at 355, oftentimes that imbalance is going to pair off and get smaller. The reason imbalances exist are for people to take the other side. That's why they make it public, because they want sellers to come in when there's too many buyers, and they don't want volatility at the close. That's actually the reason for it.
Yep, they're going to display it, show it, then you can put your coinciding order and offset it or join it or anything like that, and then we'll be able to see where it prints near the end of the day. But yeah, that's a lesson to just be ready for 350. That can happen. We were ready and got stopped out there on that 194 break for Tesla, obviously, as it comes back in. I'm short now against that 195, but that's, again, a dangerous proposition, as we'll take, whatever, we'll just take 30 cents there. Hopefully it falls even lower than this, but this is very risky to do this kind of stuff. I'm just trying to scalp around because I know the potential, especially if it does flip the other way. So right now we're bidding into the 30s again. If we could just take quick 50 cents, we have lost all the way up here. So would be nice to get a dip buy potential, but we just take something at 53 and we were just at 35. Oh, that's too bad about this stock here, but that's okay. All right, futures all the way back up. We won't ring the register as much on this, but we were lucky to take advantage of that move to the downside. So good out there for us on the way down for Tesla as we go. Oh, that's right. I got to go over there and set that computer up. Fabian's doing that, so that's good. Thanks, Fabian.
Good man.
Yeah, so just TQs, just that. Palantir, nice upside move today.
You guys matched today.
Stock blitz. Yes.
Of course, Fabian goes up there. Good on him
Fabian
for helping
loves
you
the
out
stock
setting up,
blitz.
but then of course he has to hit a bunch of buttons, because why not?
Yeah, he's excited for that one.
Because they don't have enough buttons to hit on that screen over there. Do you think our trading setup is ridiculous? That's nonsense.
Yeah, he's over there. He's over at my spot there at the recap show. The good thing is I have Adara just sitting there, so if I'm a little bit late, she can hold it out for us into the close. But 194.79, so here we come downside for Tesla. I mean, maybe just take the bid now and then don't worry about it. It's at 39.40s. I just put a bid there. Hopefully, if don't.
I think it's already paired because I don't see it.
Okay, so there's the, oops, I'm not even on Tesla. There it is. So we are on Tesla for this little bit of a pullback in there. So look, short all the way. It's been nasty. And then we got this one back in, hoping that we do pair off, and maybe we can catch
it. It has paired a bunch.
Okay, so maybe we can catch a dollar club right at the end of the day. This is going to come out in just a matter of seconds. It was a 1.5 billion buy, by the way. So that's pretty nasty there. So we'll take 50 cents, 20 cents, and our loss on this will be 20 cents if we lose. So no matter what, we'll be net 50 on that last little piece, but at the end of the day, not a great opportunity there for Tesla. Shorting, as we thought we were starting to see right here, which is, we were seeing it, but we were just starting to get like, you know, there's the high. So lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And then right when it broke that, we should have probably gone long. Instead, we kept shorting it into the 200 period, and that didn't make any money. It actually wound up costing us some money. So downside now for Tesla. Hey, if this can drop $1 from here, fine, and we'll be happy with everything. But definitely a little immature there, trading at the end of the day on a name where we should have just been long, because it was and still is PL1, but that long down here at 185 is all that really mattered. You know, we should have waited out for it. But NXP, here it comes. Nice little push down. We're 70 cents in the money now, as there's the flip over, Neil. It's going to be a dollar club winner at the end of the day, but still, nice move down for Tesla. Wish we would have traded a little bit more responsibly.
Well, they all everything paired off except for Pfizer. So, and we were asked of like what imbalances are. We do have an educational video on it if you are interested, but you know, probably not enough. All you got to do is go to the other channel. It's about the closing auction. Apple was actually at 1.3 million to the sell side. It's gone. So at 55, everything paired. This moved down in Apple, like right after I got out, everything came out buy side. It was you heard me, it was like 1.5 billion to buy, and Tesla was $1 million. I didn't even see Apple, I got out, and then Apple after 350 turned to a sell imbalance of 1.3, and it did push it to the downside, but even that has now paired off. The market though, the market's green, and it's still pushing higher. The NASDAQ's chilling. Nothing wrong with the NASDAQ here, up 0.3% to the upside and still going higher. That's in the face of Apple going down. So that's not a bad sign at all. See, this is what, you kind of like this. Google's down 3%, looking pretty weak. I just showed you guys Apple not necessarily looking the best. You got Amazon, which is getting to VWAP now. It's doing some work. I like Amazon. And I could have done much better on Amazon today. I'll acknowledge that. We had the idea for the 180 long, and then I made kind of one fatal mistake in here, which was we're long off the lows. I decided to add to it and tighten the stop. So it's like you put on more risk, but with a tighter stop, you're really not risking more. So you can have less here with a wider stop, or you can have more here with a tighter stop. So I adjusted the plan sort of midstream, thinking, well, either it's going to work right away when it busts out the 180 and we get to VWAP, instead of playing the patience game. So I shifted from the patience game to the impatient game. You can see I got out, then it goes to the high. After that, I went back to being patient, waited for the old VWAP setup, and it bounced nicely. 180 on Amazon. It's like a good pivot spot, and the 50 period down here, 178, looks like a good support spot that it doesn't even want to get to. So I feel like I'm going to be favoring bullish as long as we're above 79s on Amazon, but you never really know. For all I know, we could gap underneath that level, and then nothing I say is going to matter. But you can have a plan of action going into it. JZ, you're right. MSTR, right after the bell, you'll be right there with Sean and Adara for that excitement. It's going to be a big one. And of course, now Mullen goes. Why not? Someone in the chat had asked, has Mullen ever split before? The answer is yes, more than once. So trade longs in Mullen with extreme caution. To say that Mullen has split before, Mullen split more times than I can count. Just in this chart alone, there's 1, there's 2, and there's a third. I do wonder at some point, like, what is the rule over how many times you can split to regain compliance when you go underneath $1? For the life of me, I don't understand why you get unlimited shots at that. It doesn't seem safe. I wish I could have done better on the long and never pulled back into VWAP. It did break that 560. I need to see it above 560 at the open tomorrow to get me excited about Mullen, and that's that level on the daily chart over here. So it's making that little bit of a break. It's got, oh man, it's got like a mile and then some till it gets to the split highs. I feel like there are going to be some bag holders at $10 if it even sniffs that level. So if you try the long here, like as I said, extreme caution. This is exactly what you would expect every single time it's done a reverse split. Can squeeze, but just be very, very careful with this. I mean, it doesn't matter what you think fundamentally. You've got to respect the price action. Otherwise, you find yourself in a world of hurt. There are momentum plays to be had in stocks like this. Just don't get too married to whatever your bias or notion might be. Because if you don't take profits on this one, we've all known what happens time and time again. Less than 1 minute to go. My eyeballs will be on Tesla. 15% is pretty damn good. 230 million volume is even better than that. I don't even want to be looking short till 205 on the stock. 200 to 205, it's what I thought today. I'm going to come in tomorrow thinking pretty much only those levels, but just going to make sure I have all my orders canceled. The answer is yes. We're locked and loaded, ready to go. Ruben asking, do we have coin long or short going into earnings? I've been trading looking for favoring the short, but I don't have an opinion on the earnings one way or another. I just think Bitcoin's been weak and it has a good resistance level that we've been trying to trade off of. But I'm not trying to guess where it's going to go for Coinbase. But get the camera off me, throw it onto Adara. We're locked and loaded. It's a great start to the week. It's going to be a wild one earnings-wise. Ring it in 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. So without further ado, I know it's going to be MSTR right away. Shout out to Fabian and Ramin on the 1s and 2s. It's been a blast. Shout out to Adara and Sharif on the midday. But let's get right into it. You've got earnings starting out with MSTR. Once we get the okay, I want to make sure these guys are actually sitting there. But I do see, Tesla's actually going to be a little bit higher. MSTR it's trading, but there's no move just yet. But we are expecting them almost immediately after market. So buckle up. It's the start of big earnings, a big crypto name here. Let's see how Mr. Saylor can do. Let's get on over to the desk. It's your market recap with Sean and Adara.
All right, what's up, everybody? Hey, Adara, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I was going to make sure my mic is turned on. So cheers. Hydration Nation's in the building. And welcome to the Market Recap Show. We're ready to rock and roll right now. We are brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Of course, we will have the Benzinga Pro platform up for you. So as soon as some of those earnings come through, we are ready to rock and roll. I'll have to get the roll call loaded up. We're excited to have everybody joining us one more time today. MicroStrategies is now out. So here we go. MSTR, Dare will get those numbers for us in just a second. Let's flip this over. A loss of $3.09. There goes MSTR right now down to 12 change right now, 1.25K. So good revenue right now on MSTR. We're going to wait to see what happens. Not a big mover right now, only down 2.39%. Not sure what the expected move was on this one, but it is MSTR with a downside move there. Did you get those numbers already?
I will see. I didn't see an expected move on this. I was looking ahead of them, so I'm not really sure what the expected analyst move on this name was. They do currently hold 214,400 Bitcoin. So we know that BTC holdings are a huge part of what Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy does. They do currently have the 214,400 Bitcoin. Basically seeing that their Q1, okay, so this actually we did get in here. Q1 revenue lower than expected. So 115.2 billion versus 201.7 billion expected here. So we did have, so 115.2 million versus 121.7 million expected here. So I'm just trying to read the way this is written. So yeah, revenue miss, basically. Q1 revenue miss.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, good job there. We have Para going to the upside right now as well. Para with a nice one. Bang on that up to 1280. Starting to go upside right now for Paramount. They are out as well. We'll switch it over to the daily chart. You know, this name's got to get to 1314, 1350 or so. We'll see if Paramount can get to that. I'm not certain. Right now, nice move up for Paramount. But it was MSTR, the name that are starting to go. We'll just quickly go. We still do have a couple names coming out with NXPI, Paramount now out as well. But I did want to go over to the stock heat map just real quickly because today we had a pretty interesting day. Get me off there, Fabian, or who is that, Ramin? And then we'll just talk about some of these names that are moving around. So we are slightly positive on the day following notable strength from Thursday and Friday session. So a nice carry forward into the day today. However, there was a drop on that Treasury announcement there at 3 p.m. where we actually got higher cash reserves coming in, 243 billion versus 200 billion, starting to send some of these names to the downside, including Google, Meta, Microsoft, and the overall market started to make a move down. But then we got some good names here moving today, including Apple with their AI talk, looking at chat. We had Tesla. Where's my Tesla today? There it is right there, 15% at the end of the day. They're taking steps towards bringing FSD technology into the Chinese marketplace. So some good numbers there. Tesla, Domino's starting to go to the upside. Tomorrow we have PayPal and Eli Lilly, which should be exciting as well. DPZ today, nice mover, up 5 and a bit, taking out those highs for Domino's, starting to continue that upside move. And there's uranium. We will have Michael Noss on. He's been talking uranium for a minute as well, but some nice moves high side there. And there is the consumer discretionary ETF. That is Tesla. So there today, up 2.3%. Largest holding there is going to be TSLA. Again, consumer discretionary or not, helping that to the upside right there. And this was Tesla, TSLA. What a day it was today. My number one stock traded. It was a sticky no name that we loved. Tesla, huge move off earnings, bringing FSD to everybody's life, hopefully, and making that a wonderful experience. Tesla tomorrow should be one for the ages. So again, so far so good there, Adair. Did anything else come out?
Yeah, we did get those Paramount numbers. So the Paramount numbers came in here. Revenue is a miss. 7.68 billion versus 7.77 billion expected. They did, however, have an increased quarterly ad revenue higher than expected here for direct-to-consumer. So 520 million versus 398 million expected. So more than $100 million ahead of the expectations here. The other big thing they mentioned, so quarterly Paramount Plus revenue increasing 51% year over year, reaching more than 71 million global subscribers. So that, of course, is a great number. Bob Backus, CEO, also set to step down, being replaced by a CEO office of 3 senior executives. So interesting choice there for Paramount right now. So instead, Bob Backus is being replaced by the combined efforts of George Cheeks, Chris McCarthy, and Brian Robbins.
Yeah, there goes. We'll hit a fail on that one. I never like it when 3 people do the job of one person. It feels like you can never get enough done.
Yeah, it's an odd decision.
Yeah, I like it when one person makes the decisions, but there it goes. Paramount right now to the downside. Still up 4% from the day, but it is a nice pullback in. We were up as high as $13. Damn, this setting powder, I think, is in my eye. $13 all the way upside, all the way back down to $12.50, $12.60 right now for Paramount. If we're going to look at a daily chart for these guys, I mean, you need to break that 13.8, 13.20 area, the 200 period. But I don't mind this kind of a move right now. Check out MSTR one more time, just because I know there's some of you looking at that one. Nice move to the downside. A highly levered name. With MicroStrategy against BTC. So I'm pretty happy with this report. We'll find out. Obviously, as Bitcoin moves, so will MSTR. So far, so good there. Okay, so what was pretty strong today? Housing a little strong there with, XLB with the materials side of things. Nice day for XLB, holding out, trying to make moves off that bottom as well. Energy, utilities in play. Look at this. You want to talk about a breakout on a daily? How good does this look right now? Breaking through 67 and now trying to get through 70 is, of course, the utilities. We had some good news from Caterpillar, a bad trade for Caterpillar, but holding those bottoms, John Deere as well. Industrials, I believe, can work in this space as well. FXI, our guest this morning, loving China, and we've been talking about yin and yang for a minute. It does look like FXI continues to go to the high side right now. We still are waiting for, again, a huge chip name, man. NXPI. Last earnings report comes out. Right now we're expecting 316 EPS and revenue of 313. So if we get 3.13 billion, that's the revenue number we're looking for NXPI. We're also looking for an EPS right now of $3.16. They got the double beat of their last report. So we'll see if they can hold out hope for that. NXPI. For me, I was pretty happy with NVIDIA. I mean, NVIDIA's had a nice move to the downside there, 760. See ya, Fabian. Oh, this guy wears his sunglasses at night, I can see right there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Fabian. Looking cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
You heard that term.
Cool as a cucumber, yeah.
Yeah, okay, not making that up, okay. 906 there, we'll look for that top level for NVIDIA. I'm excited for this play. I think we can get breaking through there, and then NVIDIA goes back, hits those highs. We've talked about possibly putting an anchor on NVIDIA from these breakout levels. So if you go to the last time we've touched this 50-period moving average and drop an anchor there, look where we touched, 752, the bottom of that anchored VWAP. A big shout out again to Trade Ideas and my good friend Brian Shannon for the anchored VWAP. That was a really good hold. But today was the Tesla day. I mean, again, a monster move up. I don't know, Adara. We can talk about Tesla all we want. It made that bottom down there at 140, 150. And now all of a sudden, we talked about the different levers they can pull. This is just another one. There's another AI thing that they can talk about. They can even do more than this. We're just talking China right now. This is going to get through India. What about when he drops the price of full self-drive? What about when he drops the price of this Model 2 and that comes through? What do you think about Tesla? Did you have an experience trading it today?
Yeah, I trust. Did I trade? Yeah, I traded Tesla briefly. I took that short below that 196 area briefly, but I took it on TSLA. So that was a successful trade. That was the only trade I had, and I really liked the setup and didn't want to try to trade it again. I know you had that $10 winner on that long earlier as well. But I think in terms of my thoughts on Tesla, longer term, I think everyone was waiting for that full self-drive news. I mentioned this before as well. I like to visit Tesla Bull Twitter to see what the really hardcore Elon fans are thinking. They have always said that Tesla is more of a tech company, much like Elon himself. So they're all very down for that full self-drive announcement. It seems like Tesla is in a good position. They also did announce earlier today as well. Apparently the shareholder votes are open. So that shareholder meeting could get really interesting with regards to potential proxy votes. And also we know the ongoing incorporation concerns moving that potentially to Texas. So I think certainly lots of updates to keep an eye on there.
Yeah, I just want everyone to make sure that they understand that Tesla can still drop from here.
That's true, too.
I mean, we get a little bit of good news. It does rally up there. We knew the shorts were going to get squeezed. I said when I woke up, I looked at my phone. I got a note from CNBC. It was like, Tesla up 11%. I'm like, I'm going long. So we had to find an area to do that. And we did that today. So if you come over here, I just want to show everybody a quick little trade on Tesla that we had. We had marked it down. We will talk about the sticky note a little bit later. We do have Michael Noss coming on right now. But we knew we wanted to go long. So there he is. Hey, what's up? Nice looking tux there. As we go to the downside, there it is right now. Happy Monday to everybody. But there it was. Tesla down to 185. We knew we wanted the long. We talked about that. We knew we'd had to pay up for this as well. But we did want to dip by back to VWAP a couple times. So we actually marked that down. And here's the Tesla trade. Continuously dipping pretty much all day. Not too happy with what we did at the end. We gave back probably about 20%, maybe a little bit less, because we had a good trade at the end. But early into Tesla, here's the dips into that 185, winds up holding, and then there's that $10 winner that you mentioned. Nice move to the upside before we finally broke the 50-period moving average, and that got me well out of that Tesla trade. But that was just a good idea, I feel like, for Tesla. Now let's move back on and just see what was down today. So we actually had, it looks like, bless you. That was a kind of a funny sneeze there. Okay, so we did have the XLF down, but just slightly down today. So as you can see, the XLF starting to move around a little bit on the daily chart, hitting the 50-period moving average. Again, names like Wells Fargo, names like JP Morgan, still really strong off of earnings. The biggest gift in this whole space was this day rate here on Morgan when we dropped down on the investigations of their wealth management wing, which turned out to, I guess, be par for the course, because we bounced right back up. And I guess when you're a bank, Adara, you're going to have some potentially insider dealings, but maybe we'll find out what's going on with that one. NXPI is now out.
We do have those earnings. Yeah,
okay, so let me just quickly check what the reaction to the stock is. 245 up to 257. That's a banger right there for NXPI, up that 6.3%, nearing expected move right now. The estimate was $3.16. It looks like it's a beat. They're out right now. NXPI up 6 and change. Where are we on the daily? Looks like we're right up here into 260. The weekly, I think we're still off a little bit. No, if we can take this out, NXPI looking pretty good. We'll wait for guidance. Real traders stay late, but right now we're late, of course, with a brand new trader, Adara. Give us that news there on NXPI.
Yeah, so we did get really nice numbers across the board here. Q1 gross margin, 57%. Q1 EBIT margin, 27%, but in terms of the actual numbers, we had a beat on EPS, 3.24, so 324 versus the expected 316. That is a beat. We also did get Q1 revenue slightly higher than expected, 3.13 billion versus 3.127 billion expected. So slight beat, but still a beat nonetheless there. Also adjusted Q1 EBIT margin, 34.5%, so nice margins across the board here. They did provide their guidance. I'm not seeing how their guidance compared to the expected guidance here, but Q2 adjusted SHR here, $3 to $3.41. Q2 GAAP earnings per share diluted, pretty wide range here, 236 to 277. Generally, though, the market reacting really positively to this, guys.
All right, good job there, Adara. Yeah, as it starts to go to the downside. We will talk about some earnings that we have coming up tomorrow. We have McDonald's, we have Eli Lilly. I talked about Eli Lilly on the podcast as well. that was decent. Look, we'll see if they can beat tomorrow and come out with their GLP-1 and so on and so forth. SOFI today slap a fail on that one, as well as SOFI's all the way to the downside. But the story today is NXPI, so we'll go bang for that one. Looking at 258, trying to take out some higher levels. We have Michael Noss coming on in just a couple seconds. But again, there it is, the 1 minute. Shout out to Trade Ideas. Watch this. Fling right over there into the daily. I love this little picture-in-picture stuff, so you can get your chart down here and just flip it right over, and then you can see the 1 minute chart, compare it to the daily. It has up here year to date up 19% for NXPI. I wanted to bring note to SOFI today. Not a great report. Let's see if it can hold $7. But look at SOFI year to date, down 15%, down 10 of that today alone. Pretty disgusting day for SOFI. Could not get going, and I wanted to go long this name. We had sort of pegged down here near $7 as a decent long. I said that we would probably be under $7 tomorrow, Adara. So mark my words for that, and let's talk about that tomorrow. But you know what's happening now?
I do.
What is it?
Michael Noss.
It is your trader of the day. Let's go. It's Trader Talk. It's Michael Noss. Hey, Michael. Welcome back. How are you?
Thanks for having me. How were things when I was away? I see you crashed the market the second I left.
Yeah, we did a little bit of that. We changed like our intro music. It got like all dreary, and then ever since then, it's just been to the downside. You know what? I often feel like, Michael, and by the way, congratulations. And we're glad to hear all of that. I'll take this out of my ear. I have some more news coming in right now. Okay. Are you like me, though, no matter what's sort of happening in your family life, not anything, but the market's always on our mind, right? I mean, I'm always kind of looking at the cell phone, figuring this all out. And when I woke up this morning to that Tesla news, I was like, I want to go long Tesla because I'm a catalyst kind of guy. Is there anything, and I know we're going to talk about mRNA, but can we talk maybe a little bit about Tesla? Because I bought that 185 level. I'm getting a little nervous that we didn't break through 200, maybe as a psychological barrier. Is it something that you may short if we get near 200 tomorrow?
I'm not going to be a big one on Tesla. So first of all, I'll answer your question. Yes, especially now that Trade Ideas works on your phone and your iPad. There has been a lot of a baby sleeping in one hand, and then maybe seeing what the sector scope is showing me for all the sectors in the other hand. But when it comes to Tesla, we just got to face it. This one's been a bit of a dog of the overall market. We have, the SPY. Yes, it pulled back 4 or 5%, but it's nothing really crazy. We're in a massive bull market. We're year 2 of a bull market. Right. And Tesla's down, I think, still 40% or so from highs. This 200, I think you pointed out exactly right, where it's, a gap fill. It's also a prior high back here. There's a lot going on. And just the way I trade, I'm looking for things that are more in established uptrends and showing relative strength to the market. And when I look at something like Tesla, I just see, relative weakness, especially to that whole tech sector. I don't know if this is a massive sell the news on the Cybertruck stuff that's going on. I didn't see the news this morning, but yes, we did have a little bit of a push up. I just see a whole lot of resistance overhead on this name.
It's just funny because, up 15%, adding huge amounts of market cap today. And the news is that in China, they've opened up the gate for full self-drive. So before they were sort of blocking the data going back and forth. So now they're allowing that to happen. So hopefully Tesla can go out there and map and then maybe, distribute the full self-driving technology into Asia and through China. So I feel like that was a good move there. But I'm with you, maybe a little too jittery there to establish a trend. We'll wait to see. I think a fade through 200 would be my personal opinion. A couple names that you and I talked about. I know you like to scan through some sectors, and we had talked briefly today. It was biotech, right? So I wasn't sure if you were looking at IBB, individual names or not, but I know you like sort of a top-down approach. Find something that's maybe breaking out and then look underneath the hood and see if there's any attractive names. So, Mr. Noss, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so if we just go back to my screen for a second here, this heat map I have on the right-hand side is essentially everything that's up here is outperforming the S&P 500 today, and everything down here is underperforming. A quick look, you can usually gather themes. So, for example, wheat, the wheat ETF was down the most. We had banks down pretty hard. We had gold and silver down hard. And then up, we had biotechs. We had ARC. We had consumer discretionary. This shows me that today was a bit of a risk-on flip. They were selling the things that could be considered quote unquote safe, and they were buying some things that could be more aggressive. So when it comes to this looking for aggressive and XBI being right on the top, I want to take a look at that. And we have a pretty established downtrend line that I'm looking at right here on XBI, and just saying, hey, if we're going to break this downtrend after this, yes, prolonged trend, but still actually doing fairly well, then I might want to get involved in this, because I love trades like this where I know exactly where I'm wrong. If we close below this kind of $81 a share area, I know I'm wrong and it's time to go. But this downtrend line, I think, could be very interesting going forward in XBI and the overall market. And if we are going to get this rotation back into risk on assets, then I want to be flipping that as well. For people who've been watching the show for a while, I've been kind of all year saying, hey, I'm interested in gold and I'm interested in a lot of these, commodities and safer assets. This is only day one, but this is day one of maybe a flip back to the more fun stuff. And if that's going to be the case, then I want to take a look at that as well.
I don't mind that when the XBI down 3% on the year could definitely get going as we look at. I like that one. Do you prefer names? As I was looking, I was just kind of, because I led sort of with the IBB, which is a little bit different, obviously some different components. I almost like your XBI a little bit better because we're above the 200 period on the daily right now. With IBB, we're actually underneath it. So we do have potentially, for stuff that I look at, a little more support on this one. So that's a pretty good look right there. You and I had looked at maybe Moderna. Again, I'm not sure if this was a name that you had leveled up or not for us, but I like this. Are there any other names? I mean, this could possibly break out. This is looking pretty juicy to me here, 116, 117 type of break on that one as well. Sloping up, I can see, I've learned a little bit from you guys. Sloping up right now on the 50 period. Moderna not looking bad. Is there maybe another name, or what do you think of this call?
So the difference, if I remember correctly, between XBI and IBB is XBI is a little bit smaller cap.
Okay.
When it comes to these pharmaceutical and these biotech names, and IBB is a little bit bigger. So that might be a place to look at. The Moderna chart I have up here that you mentioned does look really, really good. I think I say here once a week that I've been trained to buy smiley faces and sell frowny faces, and that's starting to look like a smiley face to me. If we can just get over these recent highs we've had, I really like the look of that. And 8 days to cover. So there's two ways to look at short float that we have at Trade Ideas. One is just the absolute percentage. It's only 7%, which isn't super extravagant. But what days to cover is it takes that amount of shares that are shorted, and it says, okay, if every trade in the stock was a buy to cover a short position, how many days would it take based off the average volume for all of the shorts to get out of the stock?
Right.
And we're talking 8.85, so 9 days to cover on this one. It could be a little bit of a squeeze on this name if we start to get through those levels. So I like that. I do have some names, though, that might be a little bit lower cap that may be interested as well from the pharmaceutical space. Shout out to Steve. And again, thank you for Steve and all of the rest of the amazing team you guys got to hang out with on Trade Ideas while I was gone. He's been all over this MindMed play. He was talking about on a podcast that we do that he bought a little on Friday. Had a nice little break of a downtrend line today. It's all about your risk levels. When it comes to biotechs, it's very risky. So if you're a risk averse person, the ETFs are probably your move because you're diversifying against the single stock moves. If you're a little bit less risk averse, maybe you go for Moderna or a bigger cap name. If you're not risk adverse at all and you want to really take a shot at something, then I think you probably go to the smaller cap names like the MindMed and these smaller cap type of names.
You don't mind the MindMed trade at all. We saw Mullen, which has been reverse split a couple times, going absolutely crazy today. All right, you ready for an on-the-fly analysis here? It's going to be Carvana, CVNA. So you just reminded me, come over to my screen, we'll let Michael set it up a little bit. This is an interesting one, 8 days to cover. So now I'm going to start to look at this, Michael. I've only ever looked really at short flow percentages, so I haven't taken too much into consideration for days to cover. So I'm wondering if there was a number that gets you super excited. It sounded like you liked that on Moderna at 8.8. So 8 should be just as good, 30% there. And the best, I don't know if it's the best part or not, But looky what I see over here. May 1st, only a couple more days. We've all heard about the rates. We've all heard about used car prices. But this might be a story again of short float with Tesla, with EV talk. Let's see if Carvana can hold fort, but it's looking real nice. I put an anchor on this gap fill right here from Feb 22nd, and we're all the way back to 75. Maybe that level holds or not, but I like Carvana here. What does it look like to you with 8 days to cover on CVNA?
Yeah, it looks great. So I would say anything over 5 days means they need to take an entire week of just buying the stock in order to get out of shorts. So 8 or 9 seems amazing. You talked about the anchored VWAP from the gap. I think that's a good way to do it. Also, an anchored VWAP from this major high right here, I think is another good way to do it. We cleared that yesterday, and we did so on fairly good volume. Today's candle is not the best, topping tail, closed red. Market did the opposite, right? Pulled back in the day, but closed really, really strong. So that kind of worries me. And the fact that we rejected this, call it $90 or so area where I have this blue line, that's kind of concerning to me as well. But it's a line in the sand. So what I'm going to do and what makes sense is I'm just going to set an alert here in Trade Ideas and say, hey, let me know when this thing gets to $90, $91 if we get a strong push up there. I think this one looks great. The shorts are still offside. This monthly chart, you talked about how I can just kind of flip to the monthly chart right here. You got to remember the low on this thing was like $4 a while ago, and now we're at 83. So any shorts that have been holding for anything like the time are not having a very good day.
No, I still remember when Morgan Stanley came out that day, they put a $1 price target on it and actually was debating bankruptcy. And then all of a sudden, I feel like sometimes like, boom, those catalysts, I mean, wow, to be able to hold that all the way up. So, okay, just real quick, we've seen a pullback in gold. So GLD just kind of coming back a little bit. I was thinking, I'm not in this, and you mentioned yourself that you've been talking about this for a while, so credit to you because that is the truth. You have been talking about this even from this break of 190 all the way to the upside. So congratulations on some of that call and anybody that's been following you on this one. But I don't know, is this enough of a pullback that if you're flat, maybe you put on gold? I don't know if we want to use it as a hedge. Maybe we don't need to get into that talk. But it's a decent pullback, seems to have found support in here around 215. For a trader that's just looking to get into something, does this look okay on GLD?
Yeah, I like it. And just to answer the question quickly, no, I don't think gold is a hedge on anything. We had the highest inflationary period that we've had for a long period of time. Gold didn't do anything. We had a pretty epic bear market and the gold didn't do anything. It's only when the bull market came. So, I look at it like it's a stock or an asset like anything else. If it's an uptrend, I want to own it. And it is. So, yeah, we have this little base for the last 4 or 5 days. On GLD, we're talking kind of 212 at the low and 217 at the high. I think at the very least, you have a very low risk place to take a shot. If we end up clearing that and getting into the gap here, you know exactly where you're wrong. And I love any trade that, it knows where I know where I'm wrong. And again, the reason for this was always, we zoom way out, this is the monthly chart here, but we have this long-term kind of cup and handle break. If you want to do a measured move from it, which for those who don't know, in technical analysis, a lot of these patterns, they give us price targets. Doesn't mean it's always going to get there. Nothing's for sure and all that. But the low of GLD way back in 2016 was $99 a share.
Yeah.
The high is, say, 185. So let's say, $100 just to make the math easy. Well, you take that $100 and from the breakout point of $190, you're supposed to add that same value to it. So that puts us at 290. Now, that's a lofty goal, but if that's going to take place, then over the coming months and years, gold has a long way to go. So I think you're absolutely right in looking for pullbacks, looking for bases, looking for bull flags to try to take advantage of that trend. As long as it's in place, and then when it breaks, it's time to move on.
Yeah, I feel like that's the most important thing about all of this is like when something breaks, no matter what you're looking at, don't consider it this or that. Follow your rules. And as long as you follow your rules, you should be okay. Michael, if you're going to join me next week, Monday, there's a big name that reports that there's a lot of people on the chat wanting to get your opinion on because I'm bullish on this name. It's Palantir, PLTR. They're going to report on May 6th after market. I have it up right now, just holding under its gapped up anchor VWAP here of 2350. I like this name. They will be at some point added to the S&P 500. Now 5 and 6 quarters in a row of EPS profitability. Just a matter of time before they get added. I think that's enough of a catalyst to buy the name, but not necessarily ahead of earnings. Is there a spot here where potentially we're wrong? How does Palantir look? It's a little smiley facey down here. I don't know.
The long-term chart looks nice. I drew out a little anchored VWAP from this recent high at what, $27 or so a share. You know, for again, I know you have Brian Shannon on, so I don't feel like I need to talk about anchored VWAP too much because he's kind of the godfather. But the idea is that this is, if you started to buy Palantir right at this high and you kind of dollar cost averaged into it, this is your price right now. So that means that's kind of a good sentiment point of the market.
Okay, good.
If people are buying this at the worst possible price, that can sometimes be that overhead resistance, is that's the area where sentiment shifts. So for me, if I'm looking at a name like this, I'm simply saying, you know, let me know when it's above that anchored VWAP that's sitting around $24 a share. That would be where I was interested. If we fail too hard into this gap, it means whatever this news catalyst that happened back here, the market's not respecting that anymore and just, you know, saying, hey, it's time to move on. So for me, I think that's the play, is pretty simply, if you can get a close above that anchored VWAP, maybe take a shot there. Your stop goes into the gap.
Yeah, it seems like a promising opportunity. And once you're part of the family, here's Brian Shannon's book right there. You're part of the family. So, hey, and you're part of this one as well. Congratulations on the expansion of your real family, but you always have one here at Trader TV Live and all the viewers, and we all want to say a big thank you to you, Michael. Thanks for those ideas, and we'll have you back pretty much anytime I ask you, because that's how kind of a guy you are. Thank you, Mr. Michael Noss.
Thanks for having me, and I'm back now, so you guys, you can't get rid of me anymore.
Yeah, go find
you on Friday.
Yeah, find you at Michael Noss, CMT, all over the place. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Ciao. That's it.
Yeah, thank you to Michael Noss for that. Lots of interesting ideas heading into earnings on the technical side.
Yeah, I love the fact that we can just ask him anything and then talk about some chat there with our lovely people that have attended the chat, because real traders stay late, and only over 2,500 of you. So we'll get this going pretty soon, because it's time for the roll call. Let's get that roll call going. But before we do that, and I double check on some of the earnings plays, because you guys want to see what's good, right? NXPI still making that move up to 260. What a good move it has been for NXPI. Absolutely no pullback at all for that one. MSTR, this is a 5-minute chart right now, so let's just call up MSTR real quick, see what that's doing. A nice little pullback in, so not great for MSTR on the 5-minute chart. Started to get up to 1.3, down into 1.25K, 1.25K to be exactly, quarter of the way to 2,000 there. The other name that we had was Para. So let's go over and find out for Paramount. Not having a great time either, kind of stuck in the middle, and actually a pretty flat report there for Paramount, bringing it into 1220. But we said we would do roll call, so let's do that and hit that up right now. I have to say a big shout out to, of course, Bears vs. Bulls. We can't do this without you. The best in the business. Shout out to Bears vs. Bulls. So let's go. Who's here right now? It's Rich Naples. You're welcome, man. Good night to you as well. A-Moto Vlogger. What's up? Mark L. Coin Clocked. Finch Jane, thank you for the Palantir question. Real traders stay late. Kitchen police. Hey, man, if you're in the kitchen, sometimes you need the police, because those late night snacks, man, you need to be arrested for having too many of those. We're learning our lesson on that one. What's up to Piper? What's up to Ozen? Rich Naples, Trader Lucy, AV, Marie, Odyssey Flights, AK, Don't Spray, Coin Clocking, Caputi, everybody's there right now. Rob EV, Ryan Lindquist, and Ruben. Thank you so much for everything. And again, a big thank you to Adara for hanging late.
Always happy to be here. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Always happy, eh?
I honestly, I always say this, I am such a nerd about numbers and stuff. I love doing all the research, seeing what's moving in the market, seeing how things react to earnings. And I was saying as well to Brendan, I think as well being here after close helps me have a better understanding of the markets and of the immediate reaction to earnings. So I love being here, and thank you guys all for having me. Thank you, Sean, for having me.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you to Henry Chung and Zion Lala again in the chat room. Okay. That's Adara LePage. I'm Sean Catino. Find us all over Twitter and Instagram. We'll be here tomorrow. Well, I will be. Will you be?
I will be here tomorrow.
Then that sounds like a plan. Find us tomorrow at 8:30. We're live again, baby. These go out. Are we doing this as a podcast still? This will go out as a go find it on YouTube, wherever, wherever you grab your pods, and we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao from here. Thank you, Michael Noss and Ramin.